put the children to bed, it's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Ay, Dios mío.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Jesus Christ, Aldo. Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
It's fake news, Dan, and you know it, I know it, everyone knows it, including you.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Shut the fuck up.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
I would be willing to suck Aaron Rodgers' dick.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
He's a fucking idiot.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
If there is a dog.
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, Chicago Bears fans. We got a very special show for you tonight because not only are we joined by the star of the show, Dan Aguire, we are joined also by his wife, Nikki Aguire. How are you, Nikki?
Great. How is everybody?
Everybody is hard up now that they heard your voice. Dan, are you tired of fucking yet?
We actually have been able to do a lot of that because how busy we were. But I've been getting a lot of head though, so that's okay.
That is what I'm hoping to get this weekend. My wife and I are going downtown tomorrow. We're going to watch the Chicago Sky. And on Friday, we're going to go see some jazz and blues. On Saturday, we're going to see the Bears and Bengals. And then on Sunday, maybe you should give me a hand job or something. We'll see.
Is this your first preseason game that you've ever attended?
No, I've attended two preseason games before. None of them very memorable. So hopefully this one will be, although I'm hearing the starters might not play, so that will be a bummer.
No Caleb?
That there's a chance because the Bengals have announced that they are likely to not play their starters, so that might mean Eberflus will say the same thing. I hope he gives Caleb at least a series.
Yeah, because it's starting to feel like a Matt Nagy thing where let's just not play the starters, and then come week one, everybody's flat.
Mm-hmm, right. You know, that's the thing. He needs snaps. He will tell you that. If it's a second string defense that he's playing, it's less likely that he's going to get hurt. Just let him out there for a series or two. You know, he still hasn't put the ball in the end zone. We all want to see that. And the coaches should not be concerned with this, but me as a fan, if you only got one preseason game, which is the game that a lot of fans can make because it's less expensive, it's easier to get a ticket and so forth, you're almost obligated to give your starting quarterback your first round draft pick, your first overall pick in the draft. You're obligated to give him a series or two and let the fans enjoy watching him in person. So maybe I'm old-fashioned. I don't know.
Do you have any preseason recollections?
Oh, fuck.
Over the years? I've got a couple.
Well, why don't you share yours? Because then maybe I can think of something while I'm listening to you.
In '89, the Bears traded Jim McMahon to the Chargers just prior to the Bears-Chargers preseason game.
Yes, I remember.
And Jim Harbaugh claimed that Mike Tomczak and Jim McMahon were signaling each other back and forth to try to make him look bad. So, for example, if Harbaugh was in, McMahon would tell him, Tomczak, what defense they were playing, blah, 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 whatever, is a way to sabotage Harbaugh and to help Tomczak. Of course, Jim McMahon joined us on Bare Their Souls a few years ago and said that was absolutely preposterous.
Yeah.
But Jim Harbaugh did make that allegation. Also, you may remember Justin Fields just a few years ago in his first preseason game said the speed of the game wasn't an issue for him.
Yep.
And how about Mitchell Trubisky in his first game against Denver, lighting them up?
He played very, very well. I was against the Mitchell Trubisky selection in the draft, and then when I saw him, and I think he came in relief of somebody. I forgot who.
I'm sure it was Mike Glennon.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yes,
or maybe Mark Sanchez. Who knows? But yeah, he lit it up that night. I got one more for you. One more.
Great.
Jay Cutler, after the trade in 2009, went to Denver in the quote-unquote third preseason game, which was the most important at that time, and lit the Broncos up in Denver. They had like baby dolls and calling him a crybaby and a pussy and all this stuff. And Cutler went out there and beat their asses. So that was fun. There's my preseason recollection.
That's awesome. That one I kind of vaguely remember, but it's not as vivid as the other ones that you came up with. Which is weird because the McMahon one was probably 15 years before that.
Right.
And so before we start talking Bears extensively, I want you and Nikki to share your experience in Cincinnati last Thursday. The two of you tied their knots. Nikki, I'll start with you. How was the experience?
It was fantastic. I was so excited. It was everything I wanted it to be. I mean, I couldn't have planned it any better, but the way it went.
And what made it extremely special was that I was there, right?
Exactly. You were my Latino escort.
No.
You know what she said to me? She said, he's Puerto Rican. He doesn't look white. He hates it when people think he's white. So I hate it when people think I'm white too. So I get it.
I can't blame them, for thinking that I'm white because I'm whiter than their Polish cousin, But I wish I had a little bit more of a Latino flair to my look, and I did maybe when I was younger, because I was out more often getting sun, and so I was a lot tanner than I am now. That's for sure.
I know. I was like, man, the agency sent me a white guy. What the hell is this?
I love it.
We were listening to Stern this morning. It was an old bit from like 2 years ago. But he had on the street, they were asking random people the race of Sal or Gary. And people were just saying, disparaging things about Middle Eastern people, saying that they clearly are Middle Eastern or, everything but Italian or white. They were saying Gary was black, It's just the whole bit that they had all like 50 people responding and none of them got it right.
That's funny. Yeah. That is funny. Wow. We did, I was really privileged to be there to witness the wedding. I put together some pictures and a little bit of video. It's about a minute long here. So take a look at it and then I'm sure it'll spark some memories and we can talk about. Congratulations, you two. What a beautiful couple you are.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Now, do you recall what it was Dan was saying there? He was saying, is that what she's doing to me? I'm mentally challenged. Do you recall what that conversation was about? Please share that with us.
We were talking about the movie Forrest Gump, and he was talking about if the character of Jenny, if pretty much if she was a bitch or not. Because, you know, she just went off and like fucked and did drugs and did all this stuff. And then once she got all the fucking and drugs out of her system, she was like, oh, I have a horrible disease and this kid. So marry me and take care of me. And like, you know, Danny just thinks, you know, no, she's the asshole. And then he looked over at me and said, oh my God, that's what you're doing to me. And I'm sitting on a bench. I'm mentally challenged. I'm Forrest Gump. You're Jenny Gumping me. How dare you?
That is a great story. That really is a great story. But I got to tell you, I never looked at Jenny that way. I always just saw her as being, you know, in a hard luck situation. About, you know, dad's raping her and all that stuff. And she made a lot of bad decisions. But the best decision that she made was not allowing, I shouldn't say that, but of getting together with Forrest and them, you know, spending her last year or two together. That was touching to me.
I liked one of my favorite lines from the movie involved them, two of them. One of them was, I can't do a Forrest impression. I might try. It'll be bad. But he said, oh, I think I ruined your roommate's bathrobe when he came on the bathroom. And then secondly, another good one is he goes, when he was trying to get back with Jenny again, he said, I'm sorry I ruined your Black Panther party.
That's funny. The two people who were there at the wedding, besides myself, who are they? Tell our audience who they are, what they mean to you.
Jeremy Vaughn. I've known him since 2000, and he's a great guy, very generous. Like, for example, we went to Kings Island on Saturday, which is roller coasters, and you know, like there's one in particular that we rode that it goes like 90 miles per hour and has like this 200-foot drop. it was not exactly fun. It was just like, this is my death happening right here.
He said, oh God, over and over again. Like, I mean, like we were fucking. I mean, he was like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
It felt warranted. But the reason I bring this up, there was a line to get on that ride that was an hour and a half. We were able to circumvent that because Jeremy spent, get this, $405 upgrading all three of our, because I bought the passes for everybody to get into the park. He spent $405 to upgrade us to where we could skip the lines.
You know, that's sort of worth it if you're going to go on a lot of rides. Did you guys go on a lot of rides and circumvent those lines?
Yeah, we did. Well, I would say we were there for about 8 hours.
Yeah,
but we got into the water park and stuff too, so everything wasn't roller coasters. But it was a great day.
It was
awesome.
It was
awesome. And so in Cincinnati, you got to see Marilyn Manson. Do you have a funny Marilyn Manson story for us?
Well, real quick, if I could circle back, is to say momentarily with Jeremy, we were trying to hook him up with a friend that you met named Jackie.
Yeah.
Nikki met her when they were kids, so literally like 6, 7.
Yes.
So that was her friend and he's my friend, and they were both single, and they were sort of a blind date, and it seems like they've really hit it off. So that makes me very happy.
Yes.
Because we can both vouch for them, and it seems like things are really going well there. And again, that makes me extremely happy for them. So maybe one day we can attend their wedding. But to go back to Manson, he's completely sober. He's in great shape again, has really, really good arms. He's been working out. And when I told him that we got married, you know, he was very warm about it. He congratulated us and things. Like the first time I met him, as you saw, he grabbed my dick and all that. He was kind of in Marilyn Manson mode, you know, if that makes, you know, trying to be shocking or whatever, like a shtick. But when we met him the other day, it was more like he was Brian Warner. You know, he was just
very cool.
He was very just generous and laid back and polite.
But he was in makeup. So the irony is that he was in Marilyn Manson mode here, and then when you met him recently last week, he was in makeup.
Well,
he was still in makeup.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, the first time he did that was after the show. So he's probably boozed up because, again, it's after the show versus this time it was before the show.
Okay.
And see, when we first got there, there were two lines, one for the band Five Finger Death Punch and one for Manson. I'm not exaggerating. There were probably like 250 people there to meet Manson and like 20 for Five Finger Death Punch. It was a Manson crowd. And when we left after Manson, it was like 30-40% of the amphitheater left too.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a mass exodus after Manson left.
That's no exaggeration.
I feel bad for that band. the main act.
Fuck that band.
They gave Manson a break by having them open for them. You know?
Fuck that band.
And I asked Manson too. I said, "Is there any way you're going to do a headlining tour in the fall?" And he said emphatically, "Yes." So for those of us that go to a lot of concerts, that's big news. I don't think we'll be doing VIP again.
No,
because I spent $1,200 for that.
No, hell no, you're not spending that. Hell no.
But we'd go see him again for sure.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice if we can get him on the show to promote his act in Chicago. That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
You guys interviewing Marilyn Manson.
I don't think he would do those things now because every time he goes anywhere, it's going to be bringing up questions that he can't answer legally until it's adjudicated, you know, and I think he'd have to be wary of that. I'm guessing.
Grizz asked, Manson went back to his old one-day-a-year stuff?
You know, he hates that.
Yeah. That
really?
Rumor. Yeah.
The kid, Paul, was like 7 or 8 when Manson graduated high school in 87. That's clearly not him. And that rumor always pissed him off. He's like, why can't people do the fucking math?
Exactly.
He's like, I was 18 when that kid was 7 or 8.
Uh-huh. That is wild. All right. Well, again, congratulations. An honor to be there. And
we were honored for you to be there. It was great.
Yes, it was. It was wonderful. I got to touch you.
And you've been posting pictures on your Facebook and X account, right, Dan?
Mainly Facebook. I'm not on X that much any longer, and I apologize. I had a cool message from Nomad and from Tooch and from the other Dan, and I responded to them, but it was a few days late because I just don't get on X that often anymore. But yes, I posted just a litany of photos on my Facebook.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I'll post some more on X. Basically,
have at it.
The photos you saw in the video. Very good. All right, let's talk a little bit about Hard Knocks. I know Tooch will probably talk about it when he joins us in 40 minutes with his Bear State of Affairs. I'm assuming he's going to be here in 40 minutes with that. But I thought the three of us could talk about it because Nikki, you saw last night's episode, correct?
Yeah, I've seen the first two. The two has been out, so yeah, I've been watching.
Now, some barflies want you to pass a quiz before they allow you. They allow you.
Can I just blow somebody to get out of this?
All right. Well, I am the owner.
You can blow me.
I blew you this morning.
All right. So, so Dan, you have to promise. Put your hand on a Bible. Or actually, not a Bible. Put your hand on something that you hold very sacred, like
my cock.
Yeah, put your hand on your cock.
I was going to say Nikki's vagina or something, and don't.
That'll work. Do that.
And don't reveal any of these answers. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So on my T-shirt, I have 3 goats. Each of them has a number on it representing a member of the Chicago Bears who has been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The numbers are 51, 51, 34, and 23. Name 2 of the 3 players representing those numbers, and you get to whatever. I don't care.
I get what? What the fuck do I get?
The Barfly says you get to stick around and talk football.
I think she can do this.
I think she can too.
Let me give a small hint. You hate Pearl Jam. You hate Eddie Vedder. But I showed you a picture of Eddie Vedder wearing the 34 jersey just this morning.
Oh, okay. I think I know this one. This one.
Go ahead, anytime.
Walter Payton.
Very good. All you need is one more.
I'll give you one more hint. I won't tell you the number, but you figure it out. Rocky had a dog in 1 and 2 named after this player. Come on.
Butkus?
That's correct.
Oh, she did it, everybody! Oh, by the way, did you look in the chat room? Because they were giving you the answers.
No.
Everybody loves you.
Yay. But no, actually, I wasn't looking down because I was like sitting here with my eyes closed because it's like I'm trying to like memorize the jerseys he's wore over the years. That was what I was trying to use.
Yeah, we have you on full screen, Aldo, so she can only see you.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you that I think it's great that you are supporting your man's addiction, because truly Dan has an addiction with Chicago.
Yes, I've known this.
And it's not a dangerous one, although sometimes, perhaps he can take things a little too far.
It's
like
okay.
One day at 3 a.m. when he texted me, I was just sitting here about the first time I got a blowjob. The Bears were playing the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well,
that was true. And that was with her.
That was with me.
Back in 1997.
Oh, my God, everything's connected.
That was me. I had braces.
That's hilarious. You still got any scuff marks on there?
No, it's fine.
All right. So, Hard Knocks, I get this text from Dan immediately after the show, and I won't read it, but you were a little displeased with the show. Tell us why.
A little underwhelmed. Episode 2, for one, it was extremely short. It was like 48 minutes or something.
Yes.
That's approximately. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like they took a bunch of B-roll and just put it together. It didn't feel like they had a lot other than the game. They did a decent job covering the Buffalo preseason game, but the stuff before that, like what was there, like 7, 8, 10 minutes on the kids?
Yes.
And there was a segment at the beginning. It was like they were covering the Saints, like with some musician, and it was correlating with the practice somehow, but I didn't get the Chicago tie with it at all.
Blues music.
But isn't that more of a New Orleans thing?
No, Chicago is considered the birthplace of the blues, but it's probably played more easily available more in New Orleans. The whole thing with the blues in Chicago, in my opinion, has been a bit overblown. There's a lot of Chicagoans who have never stepped into a blues bar, and lots of Chicagoans. It was more something of the past, just like Al Capone was in the past, and the mafia in Chicago is in the past. But that's my opinion. But I could see why you would feel that. I actually liked that edited sequence with the blues and the practice. I thought it was very well produced. But to your comment, Dan, that it was like 47 minutes long, the episode. I got a theory on that. And I wish the Chicago beat reporters would ask this question, is who has editorial authority, meaning who in the Bears organization is taking a look at that and saying, take this out, take that out, take this out. And when do they do it? Because clearly they're editing up to probably 2 hours or maybe even less before showtime. And so if Kevin Warren is sitting with the producers of Hard Knocks 2 hours before the show and saying, no, don't show that. No, don't show that. No, you can't show that. And now the show is 45 minutes, and they're probably thinking, holy fuck, this is not a full episode. Well, let's throw in the Children's Museum ice cream story. That's easy to put together, slap together in 2 hours, and that'll get us up to 47, 48. And I'm just spitballing here, but I just got a feeling that the reason it was shorter has something to do with Chicago Bears interference. What do you think about my theory?
It's plausible, certainly. And to substantiate that theory, I don't know if I've heard one cuss word yet. And
exactly. They've cut all that shit out. They've cut it or bleeped it out. So you know, with Kevin Warren being, wearing his religious affiliation on his sleeve, and he had a story where they followed him to church. He's always talking about his faith. He has a minister doing a prayer before every press conference that he holds and stuff. I think he's behind that. I think he wants a very clean, squeaky image of the Chicago Bears. He doesn't want the old Ditka, here's your fucking IQ, buddy, or whatever Ditka said. He wants a pure franchise that will make it much more marketable for him and his marketing team.
My initial instinct is to think I really hate pious, bullshit like that. But hey, if he gets this new stadium and wins a Super Bowl, okay, I'll try to stop saying fuck for a couple of days too.
Yeah.
No, you won't. You can't do it.
You're right.
You can't do it.
And a couple of people, I posted something on Twitter on the subject, and a couple people said, well, I enjoy the show probably even more that there's no cuss words. And I'm not saying that that I feel there's something missing regarding the cuss words, but I do think that part of the appeal for pro football fans from the previous Hard Knocks is that you saw it uncensored. You saw it with blemishes and people's real reactions, get the fuck off the field and blah, 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 and now it just feels too sanitized to me. Anyway.
I agree. And I felt that the episode, now I enjoyed episode 1. I put it over last week. We came on after the as soon as it went off, basically. But even 24 hours later now, since watching it, I just felt like last night was very dull. I mean, it just was boring. I liked it because it's the Bears, but if you weren't a Bears fan last night, I'm not sure anyone could watch it that wasn't a Bears fan.
Well, Nikki, how did you feel about it? Did you get bored at times?
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, I thought the first episode. I think it covered what it was supposed to cover. To kind of show, everything with the training and, showing the players and showing what they got. And then, like I said, and then this past episode, it felt more like almost like a boring reality show, kind of.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. It felt like a really boring reality show.
And why are they forcing that Canadian kid on us? So he's not going to make the team. He's hurt, and they put him back in it again. It just
the Canadian Eagle.
Yeah, I just felt like they must be out of content this week if they're putting this guy back on there.
I'm telling you, they were putting shit in there because they were asked to cut stuff out that got them into that danger territory. We got a half-hour show here. We got to start adding some shit. That's really what I'm getting.
Filler. It's filler. Like they just
filler exactly
filler in there.
And so that's I'm imploring the Chicago Bears beat reporters to ask this question when Matt Eberflus takes the podium, or asked to interview the communications director who is probably working closely with HBO. Find out what is the process. When do you guys get to, veto something, and when is the final edit?
They're going to lie.
They probably will.
They will say that they had no editorial content or any control over the content. It's all HBO. They have full access, full cooperation, and they're never going to admit that they asked to probably cut Caleb out from saying, what a fucking drive, 90 yards. Like, next time we'll get a touchdown, motherfucker. They're not going to admit that he said all that because he did.
That's right. That's a great point. So, but they have said that they have editorial content in a press conference. Eberflus did say that. So that's been, they have editorial final say. So that's already been out there. I just think that they should dig a little bit more, act like real fucking reporters. Sometimes these reporters just, report exactly what they heard at the podium, but that's a fucking press release. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be asking tough questions. You should be talking to sources. What's going on with Hard Knocks? This doesn't seem right. What happened to all the swearing? kind of letting it go. I don't know.
It
To
seems
me,
like
it
the
bothers me.
script is pretty weak too for the voiceover.
Yeah, the great narrator, what's his name? Liev
Schreiber.
Yeah, what a great actor, right?
Yeah, what was his name on that Showtime show?
Ray Donovan.
Yeah, Ray Donovan. A cool guy, great narration on the sports. I just feel like he's sort of an afterthought.
It's ironic. Ray Donovan says here episode 2 was better than 1, so he disagrees with our thesis here. Go ahead, tell him. Fuck off. tell him, Nikki. I want to grab that as a drop.
Fuck them and fuck Five Finger Death Punch.
I thought the coolest thing of the week was the kid. What's the kid's name that wasn't drafted that scored the 2 touchdowns late?
Oh, what the hell's his name? Come on, J2K. Reed? Is it Reed?
No, that's the quarterback. I meant the back, the running
back.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Ian Wheeler. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Like, I had no idea Wheeler was going to be a type of doctor, whether it's I think he said it was going to be a psychologist.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's good right there. That's deep. Mm-hmm. For them to dig deep to give us a story like that. And he happened to score 2 touchdowns in the same game. So that worked out really well. That was the strength of the show, I think.
Yeah, as Vinny says, he came from Howard University. I actually looked him up as soon as we got him because we were doing a show on some of the undrafted free agents. The kid returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns while he was at Howard. He is incredibly bright. His number one ambition is to be a contestant on the show Jeopardy. And I saw a couple of interviews. I just went back on YouTube to see if he was interviewed when he was in college. I saw a couple of interviews. He's just a really cool guy. I'm glad that they featured him on Hard Knocks, and then he scores 2 touchdowns. So it was really sweet. He could be fighting for Velus Jones's job as the 4th or 5th running back on this team. What do you think? Is
Velus officially a back though? Because
my gut feeling, they haven't officially said that, but my gut feeling is that he is showing enough to be a gadget guy. He's going to be in the wide receiver room. He's going to be in the running back room, and they're going to try to, not every game, but use him on gadget plays on a lot of games.
And he's the 3rd round pick, as you recall. So it's going to be hard. And Paul's just will. It's like he's his brother-in-law or something. I don't think he's going to cut Velus unless Velus has a terrible moment again in the preseason. Mm-hmm. Herbert's got a job. We know Swift has a job. Mm-hmm. And we know Johnson, the kid we drafted last year, has a job.
Roshan, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough.
It's going to be very, very tough.
Wheeler's probably going to make the practice squad, I would imagine, if he clears.
Because there are so many running backs, and there are a dime a dozen. If they put him on waivers, I'm 99.99% sure he would pass through waivers and get onto the practice squad.
And let's not forget Blasingame, the fullback. He's also considered a running back in that aspect.
Absolutely.
So I don't see how Wheeler makes it unless, like you said, they severed ties with Velus. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. Greg Gabriel says, don't be surprised if they traded him for a day 3 draft pick, round 6, maybe even round 7, Khalil Herbert. And I would be pissed off about that because the guy, he averages 5 yards a carry. Where do you get that? Where do you find that? This guy, he may not be able to block as well as the other guys on the roster, but man, just stash him away. All of a sudden, maybe he gets a mysterious injury. He goes on IR for 4 weeks and see how the other guys play in real football games.
I mean, there's no guarantee that Herbert wouldn't be back beyond this last season. Mm-hmm. Like you said, if he's averaging 4 or 5 yards a carry at the end of the year, I mean, how expensive is Herbert going to be? Just like a 4th or 5th round pick from Virginia Tech a couple of years ago. I could see the Bears bringing him back. So I can't. Greg Gabriel knows more about football than I do, but I could see, Homer's definitely the odd man out, I would think, too, even though he's a special teams guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a really good special teams guy, too. And Shane Waldron knows him from Seattle, so he might have an advantage there. But I don't know.
Uh-oh. We lost Aldo.
Oh, shit.
Aldo, if you can hear us, you're gone.
Come back.
There he is. He's
Oh,
back.
okay, good.
I don't know. I think I accidentally hit a button that just ejected me out of the studio.
You're like one of those guys that deal with the 911 that they die and they get something called Narcan and it brings them right back like a Pulp Fiction moment. Straight from death.
Are you kidding me?
No. If they overdose on opiates or heroin, they give them that Narcan and they come out just like Uma Thurman.
That was fucking trippy.
Thank you, Rosanna.
I was saving that for the end of Johnny Santucci's Bears State of Affairs, but it was better played there.
Well played. Who now, if you could fuck Rosanna Arquette in her prime, like when she did that movie with Madonna, what was it called?
Desperately Seeking
Susan. Yeah.
Good film. Mm-hmm. Or maybe Patricia Arquette, the height of her on True Romance. Who you fucking, Rosanna or Patricia?
Do I have to make a choice?
You have to make a choice. That's the question.
Oh.
It could be Rosanna on Pulp Fiction if you want her.
I want to go shit in her face.
Sound like Travolta.
Go ahead, Nikki, you first.
Or maybe you want to fuck David Arquette. Is that?
Jeez, what an unattractive guy. I can't believe what's her name married him.
She had a lot of horrible plastic surgery recently.
Oh my gosh, he looks plastic. That's right.
I'm gonna go with Patricia. I'm gonna go with Patricia.
All right, that's great because it'll leave me Madonna. Oh, Madonna wasn't a choice.
No, fuck you. Madonna was not a choice.
All right, at this point in my life, I'll take whatever the fuck I can get. So yeah, just give me. Yeah, Zach is right. I'll fuck Roseanne Barr if I have to. Okay, so anything else regarding? Because I'm sure we'll pick this up again when Tooch joins it. But anything else you want to get off your chest about Hard Knocks?
To praise it once more, I thought the coverage of the game was really good. I liked that they had, parents, because sometimes like I was personally, because I had the Buffalo announcers where I don't live in Chicago. Mm-hmm. They show the road or the home team's announcers. Mm-hmm. So 4 quarters of Buffalo talk with Steve Tasker, I was like, God, this game's boring me to fucking death. Like I was falling asleep in the 4th quarter. And it's just because the announcing had no charisma whatsoever. But the point being that, hey, I might be falling asleep even though I want to pay attention to everything that's happening. But there are kids out there playing now. Their parents are living and dying for their opportunity to see their son right now. And I thought that was really cool. And like with the Roma Doomsday's mom, like, oh, no, there's a penalty or whatever, or maybe that was the backup quarterback's parents where they were like just desperate to have the flag picked up so that their kid could get some stats. I like to see other people living and dying by each play, which I do in the regular season. So that was cool. So I don't want to shit on it, but it just, again, as we talked about it, I thought it was too short. It focused on stuff that just wasn't relevant. It felt like, or at least too long, like the kids stuff. Yeah. It just was very disappointing. I liked the first week. I thought this one was like a rehash, like filler stuff.
Yeah. Listen, I get you and I agree with you because I love kids. I love kids and showing them on in documentaries so you can get to know the characters better is great. And so we got to meet DJ Moore's family, his wife, his kids, and so forth. But I just thought it was too long. It's like we had enough even without the museum ice cream portion. That could have been completely excised and we still would have had a good sense of who his family is and how cute the kids are and stuff. It just seems like they spend way too much. And, my wife and I were watching it together. We looked at each other. What the fuck is this? But the Jalen Johnson, Keenan Allen, which I correctly predicted they were going to do a segment on that when I heard Keenan Allen saying, I still don't have a catch when Jalen Johnson is guarding me. And I thought that section was really well done.
And didn't Jalen let some F-bombs go in that initial?
Yes, he
they
did.
could have aired that. They could have aired him cussing there.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, they carefully edited around that. So Cliff's loved the pink ice cream parlor thing. Cliff, what's wrong with you? You don't want to talk Bears? You want to talk ice cream? We're talking about practice, man.
I'm here to talk about pink stuff. So
Yes, that's right. Can't wait to get to that section. All right, what about the game? I know both of you saw the game, but primarily Caleb Williams, those first two offensive series, he got his taste of NFL action. Nikki, as someone who is not a football aficionado, how did he look to you? What kind of an aura, if any, did he give to you?
I got a good feeling from it. I mean, he seemed, very energetic. I thought he was smooth, in his movements. I thought his throw was great. So, I'm optimistic.
Yeah. God, you know what? So is the national media. Listen to this.
Rate his performance for me, 1 out of 10. How well do you think he did?
I thought he did a 8.
I'm all in on Caleb now.
Yeah.
This is what a number 1 overall pick looks like. And the best thing I thought you could say about Caleb Williams coming out of this game, he looked just like he looked at USC.
The arm, the movement, the confidence, it's just different.
So it's no surprise that the man can do a little improv. He's a showman. He's a thespian. And it looks like the Bears might have something cooking.
Having a presence as a franchise quarterback is so important.
No, the boy looked good. The boy looked good. We saw the arm on display. We saw the athleticism on display.
Mahomes is a completely accurate comp.
That's a generational talent.
Absolutely. I said check his birth certificate. He looked like a veteran out there playing.
And he showed that he has the ability to keep his eyes upfield, not look at the rush, have a feel for the rush, and still deliver accurate passes and make great decisions.
The young fella checked every box, making the plays off schedule. Every defense has a weakness. What I love about Caleb Williams is he identified the weaknesses on the defense and exploited it.
Incredible movement, incredible patience, incredible command at the line of scrimmage. I saw him changing plays.
Looked like he belonged, right? And it didn't like it was too much for him. Some rookies, as I've been there, I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to mess up. He looked so calm and collected.
From start to finish, only playing in two drives against the Buffalo Bills, he was having fun. The moment never became too big for him, and that's something that you would love to continue to see from your young quarterback.
All signs point to 4,000 plus yards for the first time in Bears history.
And I know it's just preseason, and I know we're getting excited. But it's preseason, let's get excited. You know what I mean? He looked good.
What you do in college translates to the NFL level. And we saw that in his 2 series out there offensively for Chicago.
You can't fool teammates. DJ Moore said outstanding. Cole Kmet, the tight end, said second to none.
Yeah, he's no Rex Grossman, but he is looking pretty good. That's somewhat of a joke. I do believe Rex Grossman is the most underrated quarterback in the history of the world.
He looked good.
He did.
He looked good. He looked good. I was very impressed.
Dan, not only has the national media stopped laughing at the Chicago Bears, there's at least one member who loves Rex Grossman. How about that?
Hey, first off, nice segue, nice editing. It's like we were giving each other signals. That was an alley-oop. That was like a Jordan to Pippen alley-oop, no look. That was good. That was a good segue.
Thank you. Nick and I are working together like old pros on this show.
I got you a question, though. This is like a deep question. So you were mentioning earlier that there's a chance Caleb doesn't play in the 3rd preseason game that you're going to attend. If you just assume for a moment that that's the case, and he's not going to play in that last one, the fourth one, that's a throwaway game now, right? So my question to you is, if you look up north, J.J. McCarthy's out for the season. Is that going to influence the Bears' decision on playing Caleb the rest of the preseason?
I hope not. You can't play scared. You got to make sure that this team is as well prepared as possible for that first game, because that has to be a victory. You can't risk losing the first game and then going to Houston Texans and now being 0-2 to start the season. That's no way to get to the playoffs. Now, if they hold this practice tomorrow against the Cincinnati Bengals, it might be canceled because of poor weather. But if they hold this practice and Caleb looks fucking great and sharp and so forth, then I might consider, him not playing against Cincinnati. You don't want, him to play too much. But then the third regular season game, you got to throw him out there for a couple of series.
He won't. I'm guaranteeing that. I can quote me. I could be wrong, of course. That fourth one, man, or, normally it's used to be the fourth one, but it is this year because of the Hall of Fame game. That last one, that is going to be that kid that we keep seeing his parents. Mark Rippon's nephew is going to play some. Maybe our friend from West Virginia is going to get some, but Caleb is not going to be in that last one. The only time I can remember John Fox put Mitch in that last one. He kept taking big shots after big shots. It's like, dude, take Trubisky out. What are you doing?
Yes. See, I see. One of the reasons I'd love to see him Saturday, besides the fact that
he needs to play Saturday.
He needs to play, right? And if the Bengals are going to start their second stringers on defense, fine. Put the first team Bears offense out there and march downfield in 5 plays, beat the shit out of that defensive line, the starters from the Bears offensive line. Just beat the shit out of them and let Caleb sit in the pocket and throw his first touchdown pass in the NFL. Even if it is a preseason. I would love to play against their second stringers. Yes, hit them, fucking A. So
is Joe Burrow going to play?
No. Joe Burrow is not playing. Joe Burrow is not playing. Fucking pussy.
Remember the Bears?
God damn.
The Bears, even in Cincinnati's Super Bowl year, if you remember when they came to Soldier Field, they intercepted Burrow on 3 straight plays.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, that was Nagy's last stand there. But we had 3 straight picks on him, and that was their Super Bowl year. They lost to the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So
hey, I got just off track here. Nikki, is it now insulting to women when you call another man a fucking pussy?
I don't know. I do it all the fucking time. I don't know. It's not like I'm the shining star of fucking etiquette. I don't know.
I thought you were, you took a couple classes in political correction.
Yes. I was a debutante. How did you guess?
Because sometimes I'll say something, I'm like, I just offend somebody, because I'm very good at that.
No, I say pussy a lot, and I probably shouldn't, but I don't give a shit.
Have you called Dan a pussy yet?
I don't think I've called you a pussy.
I mean, honestly, I don't think you've had much reason to call
No,
him a
I
pussy.
don't think so.
Wait, Nikki, wait till you see a spider in the house, then you'll call him a pussy.
No, I'm not. I'm afraid of snakes.
Oh, I'm sorry, snakes.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah. Even when we were kids, like she'd always take me to the mall and like.
Well, I did that on.
Well, I was getting to that back in the late '90s. Though she'd be holding snakes up, like there's no fucking way. Yeah, and she was doing the same thing. Was it at the aquarium where you had the snake, or the zoo? The zoo. Either way, I want to know part of that shit. I don't care if the snake has no venom, it's not poisonous. I don't give a fuck. I don't want any part of snakes.
I'm surprised, man. I thought, growing up in West Virginia, you'd see a lot of them out in the bush and stuff.
Fuck, I ran over a snake mowing the lawn. I don't know, like 2000. I don't know what kind of snake it was, but it was tied up in the blade and shit. I asked my stepdad to come. I was like, I know you can say what you want, but I'm not touching that dead snake. I got my mom to get my stepdad to get it out of the lawnmower.
What are you, a pussy?
I'll be a pussy.
What are you, a pussy?
Man, snakes. I don't fuck around with snakes.
I gotta mark that down. Snakes and pussy. That could be a new segment for our show there.
Kind of like what was it? Steak and whiskey?
Steak and whiskey. Now I'm drawing a blank on his name. And that's been happening a lot. The more marijuana I smoke.
Trey Busy.
Trey Biz. My man Trey.
Anyway, I thought he was doing really good work on there, and then he was doing the mental health show, and then he got brought on to do the segment and then didn't do it. Remember that?
Yeah,
the last time you're running back for steak and whiskey, then he because he was supposed to name like who needed to get laid.
That's right. That's right. That was some funny shit. If you notice that Johnny Santucci is backstage, are you ready to rock it and roll it? Right. So he's giving me the thumbs up. Let me see if I can get him here. John Santucci, say hello to Dan.
Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Aguire. Congratulations.
Hello.
Yeah. Sounding good. Enjoying the show from afar until I jumped in here.
Where were you?
Just getting the girls to bed, and I went on vacation last weekend. It was a disaster. I had the traveling trots.
Oh.
Yeah, just explosive diarrhea.
Oh God!
God damn.
Yeah. I was doing a boat tour on the lake, and get a phone call in the middle of the lake. Amazingly, I didn't think I'd have a signal out there. It was my mom. It's like, I fell. I think I broke my hip. So I was like, we had to cut the vacation short, come home,
Man.
call the paramedics, have her take mom to the hospital. She had surgery. She had a pin inserted in her.
Oh my God.
Hip. Yeah, she broke her hip. So
fuck.
I've been telling her, like, don't pick anything up off the floor. Let me pick it up. She's like, she spilled her Caesar salad all over the floor, like trying to pick it up. Like, just leave that stuff,
Gosh.
Yeah. We need to get a dog, so if she spills food, the dog just comes by and cleans it up.
It's the only reason we still have our dog.
Yeah.
J2K wants to know, how is your newish house?
That's good, man. I kind of jerry-rigged the basement flooding issue. So a little like pond pump, stuck it down in the old drain and ran it out the clean out. So it's looking good.
Do you know what the cause of the explosive diarrhea that you had caused it?
Every time I go swimming in Iowa waters, I got to be E. coli, man.
Iowa waters might have done that to you?
Yeah, the lake. I mean, last time I went up to the lakes, it was like beautiful. It was clear. You could see to the bottom, man. It was so beautiful. Get up there. There'd been a lot of Northwest Iowa had a ton of flooding, man. Some towns were like underwater. So all once the flood waters recede, a lot of it drained into the lake. So it was like kind of greenish brown, like, I think it was like Saturday or Sunday night, I started getting a little, explosive, so to speak. But yeah.
I think you had fucking cholera, dude. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's like last time, the year before we went to Decorum, we were in the Upper Iowa River Valley. We went tubing and I got E. coli. So I'm like, I went home, I got some kombucha and some kefir. I fucking killed that shit with like the kefir, it's good. I feel good. Feeling a lot better today. I was like Monday, Tuesday, I was tired,
Getting old, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
Getting old and eating that Iowa corn will do it to you too.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It could have been Giardia. Yeah. I don't know.
It could have been.
You got to get those probiotics into you for the army. Send in the troops,
Right.
Did you say it could be Girardi, like Joe Girardi?
Joe Girardi.
Yeah, I'm hydrating though today.
There you go. Well done. Don't drink any of that bourbon.
My snack of choice for last night's Hard Knocks was Red Vines licorice.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Well, Red Vines.
All right, let us do the Bear State of Affairs. Nikki, have you seen any of these before? John Santucci's Bear State of Affairs?
Yeah. I've watched all of them.
Oh, bless your heart.
Every single one of them.
All right.
And still not a compliment. She has still not said one nice thing about any of them.
I'm her favorite.
Yeah, I thought we had this discussion once before. He's done porn before. I respect that.
That's right.
Yep.
And why? Because she's a whore.
Yeah.
I respect it, man.
I love Nikki.
Yep. Y'all know how to take dick. I'm telling you.
Yeah. You know what's funny is so we're leaving the courthouse and we've got the wrappings from some of the gifts and stuff. And so Nikki goes to throw it in one of those trash bins that's attached to the wall. It's got a hole about this big. And so she's stuffing the trash in there. And all of a sudden she starts fucking pumping it like
I did.
so I go, wow, you have experience with the strap on?
That video you made too was great, Aldo. I felt like I was there, you know.
Good. That was the hope. Yeah. Give everyone a nice taste of a beautiful weekend with the Aguires.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, my man, take it away. This is all yours.
You gotta give him that huck to and spit on that thing. You get me?
Go get them, Tooch. Go get them.
All right, Bears State of Affairs. Hard Knocks Bears preseason week 2. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the Bears played their second preseason game last Saturday, a 33-6 pummeling of the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, the undefeated Bears look really good, and their bottom of the roster depth looked better than expected. There are plenty of highlights, including 2 sacks of former Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky, who likely will be Bills superstar Josh Allen's backup. Yeah, but the star of the show, both literally and figuratively, was Bears franchise quarterback Caleb Williams. Folks, I know it's only preseason, but there's a lot to like here. The Williams look every bit the quarterback whom the Bears thought they were drafting when they selected him number 1 overall in this year's draft. Williams looked great, started the game 4 for 4 for 94 yards and looked to have good command of the offense. He was dangerous both in the pocket and out, and showed off his arm on the first throw of the game, a 20-yard laser beam to DJ Moore that threaded the needle. He even remembered to slide on a nice 13-yard scramble. But more on Williams in a bit. Some of the players who also stood out versus the Bills were Austin Booker, Micah Baskerville-Wheeler, Daniel Hardy, and Reddy Stewart. Both Booker and Hardy had 2.5 sacks, and Booker, hot damn, he looked fast, strong, and ready to wreak havoc in the NFL. He showed off his speed and strength, keeping opposing offensive linemen on their heels with his pass rush.
I love it.
Yeah, so do I, man. Getting him into the 5th round. Getting him in the 5th round of this year's draft looks like an absolute steal. As well, linebacker Micah Baskerville had an interception return for a touchdown. An undrafted free agent running back Ian Wheeler had 2 rushing touchdowns. Velus Jones also showed off his speed on a toss sweep touchdown run. And man, after his ferret story, I have a new appreciation for Velus. I just hope he didn't fumble that polecat too much. Yeah, he and Wheeler both showed up in this week's episode of Hard Knocks, and it looks like the Ian Wheeler versus Velus Jones Jr. can't battle for a running back spot might be the biggest on-field storyline that plays out in Hard Knocks this summer. More on those two in a bit, but first, the second episode of Hard Knocks opened with a big old delay of game. Yeah. The show was an hour late, man. Waiting for the show to start streaming on demand. Bears fans were left wondering if Luke Getsy is working at HBO now, just couldn't get the play calls in on time. I don't know. Yeah, this episode really Luke Getsy joke. It's not out of bounds. Come on.
Yay.
Right. Where are you guys? Media, I was also impressed with Williams. His personalities across the sports media landscape were effusive in their praise of Williams. There's a fun little factoid from ESPN's Dan Orlovsky. Caleb Williams saw 5 different defenses, fronts, coverages, and pressures in his preseason debut versus the Bills. You'll see even more in the regular season, but Orlovsky's saying that Williams was unfazed by the looks he saw is very encouraging. Patrick Mahomes' comparisons are, by all measures, fair comparisons. And Bears fans are hopeful that the quarterback curse is a thing of the past. I really like the scene in Hard Knocks where Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and Shane Waldron were going over Caleb's development plan. Now, Waldron said he is treating every preseason game like it's a regular season game in terms of giving Caleb information. There's no slow buildup. They're already preparing him for week 1. Gotta love it. Another scene I liked was when Eberflus, Williams, and Director of Research and Analysis Harrison Freed were going over the game's officiating crew, and Caleb asked how often they see every official per season. The scene revealed that the Bears place a good deal of importance on knowing the officials. And Williams clearly understood how the team feels about scouting the officials' tendencies and building relationships with them. Pretty cool. There also was some nice scenes with rookie quarterback Austin Reed and his parents that left me longing to ask Aldo and Dan one question. Austin Reed's mom or Mrs. Eberflus?
I'm not getting any pussy tonight. That's why I'm here.
All right. That fell flat. I thought you guys would like that.
He went to go jerk off, so
Okay,
he'll be
they're
right
not
back.
here. All right.
So he'll be right back.
Dad's probably, or all those probably would go for Austin Reed's mom. All right, back to
absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Back to Ian Wheeler. I really enjoyed the interaction between Wheeler and the Bears running backs coach Chad Morton. I hope we see more of this guy. He's great. He's got the tough love, the praise, the joking around down pat. Wheeler's putting off medical school in order to chase his NFL dream and would like to eventually become a psychiatrist.
What the hell?
You know, if his NFL dream doesn't work out, he could definitely find a lot of work here at the bar room helping us deal with our boob fixation and our excessive masturbation.
No dice.
Yeah, today the Atlanta Falcons acquired pass rusher Matt Judon from the New England Patriots for a third-round pick in next year's draft. Patriots star have been holding out for a new contract, but that's not the whole story. According to the barroom's own Greg Gabriel, the Bears also tried to acquire the disgruntled pass rusher for the Patriots. We may have gotten a little Ryan versus Ryan action, as the Bears GM Ryan Poles likely drove up the price for Judon. Take that, Ryan Pace. Yeah. And meanwhile, up in Minnesota, Vikings first-round quarterback J.J. McCarthy is out for the season following a knee injury on Sunday. The first-round quarterback was looking promising thus far in the preseason. You know, I have to ask, Jordan Silvera, you interested in a seat on the Caleb Williams rocket ship bandwagon? And that's Bears State of Affairs.
That was great.
That was great. Johnny Santucci. Very nice.
There's lots of material with Hard Knocks.
Indeed. You know, and I sense an growing edge on your Bear State of Affairs. They started off like, you know, anything that you can publish in a major newspaper like the Washington Post or the New York Times. Now it feels like this would be better for, you know, a website like a Deadline or whatever it's called, or High Times Magazine or something. I don't know.
Those Saturday Night Live for barroom.
There you go. Very funny. Yeah, I like that. I like that too. By the way, Tooch mentioned Velus Jones and the ferret story.
Yeah.
Dan and Nikki, are you guys aware of that happened today?
What, the ferret? The ferret story?
Yeah, from Velus Jones. He was at the podium today.
He fumbled the ferret, Nikki.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
No.
What?
Well, here it is. I was actually edited together highlights of it. So take a look at it.
Craziest thing, me and Pitt, Michael Pittman, we was playing Washington State. And so it was just a crazy amount of free time like we had. I think we played at like 9 o'clock. And so after we got done with walkthrough, some people took a tour of the indoor stadium and stuff. So me and Pitt, on our spare time, we went to the PetSmart. So we walked in and we looked like what the hell are those things? You feel me? Like, you know, these are fairs. I went to put my hand in the tank, then went to biting on my hand and stuff. But it was like a cool experience. And then that was like the younger ones, and then the older ones, they were just trying to like grab onto your hand and stuff, but they didn't bite as much. So me and Pitt looked at each other. It was like, we're gonna get one. I'm like, all right, bet. So we actually got on Craigslist, and we got on Craigslist, and actually, when we got back to campus, and we found a ferret breeder, and it was the sketchiest thing ever. That's when Pitt had his Camaro. I didn't have a car until I got to University of Tennessee, so I didn't need a car in Cali. All my friends had cars, so I was good. So we went down it was in South Central somewhere, and went down some alleyway. And me and Pitt looked at each other. I told him, keep the car running. So And so, you know, me and Pitt looking, I'm like, they taking too long. You see somebody pick their head out like this and go back, I'm like, yeah, bro, they might as well go to get up out of here. And then he actually came out and he had like a small ferret in his hand. I'm like, okay, it's legit. My heart was racing though. That could have been bad. So we got the ferret and paid a guy, got the ferret. I think crash cost like $350. Yeah, expensive. He was descented. Ferrets that got like an odor, but his odor wasn't as bad. He was neutered and he was descented. So, yeah, but I got him. I was terrified. He kept biting me. And Pitt was like, don't let him fall. You're going to hurt him. Like, but he just kept biting me. But no, we fell in love with him. How did I take care of him? I mean,
How did you learn about
we did some research and stuff like that. They're polecats. So they're related to like weasels and stuff. And, I mean, he ate like ferret food and stuff like that, but sometimes we'll give him like a mouse or whatever. So I guess he did his little hunting, hunt the mouse down and stuff. It was like kind of like Animal Planet, you could say. It was crazy, but yeah, I'll take him to tutoring sometimes. If it was nobody at the house, if he's going to be there for a long period of time. So my structured study, that's what USC call it, I put him in my little pouch and stuff, and I had to do no schoolwork because everybody be so fascinated. Actually, Crash did get a shout out. It was 2021 when we played Georgia. That's when JT Daniels, my old quarterback at USC, was there. And so CBS, Game of the Week, they gave Crash a shout out on game day during the game, for sure.
Well, they're not from the same hometown, but these two young men called a campus at USC home for a while Valus Jones Jr. and JT Daniels were teammates at USC. On a road game on the West Coast one day, the team went to a petting zoo because the kickoff was so late. Stay with me here. They fell in love with the ferrets. So when they got back, Valus Jones got a pet ferret. Well, sometimes he goes on vacation, so who babysat the pet ferret? None other than JT Daniels, his good friend. The ferret's name was Crash, and they will always have Crash in their hearts.
Oh boy, that's a good one.
What happened to the ferret?
Sad to say, the ferret passed away, and he passed away on some, you know, I get a little emotional sometimes. He was paralyzed from his waist down, so I had to put him asleep. But it was like sad, you know. I shed a tear. You know, you the real man cry. I shed a tear. But yeah, he was paralyzed from his waist down, and I tried to take him to a veterinarian, but I think they finessed me. It was no way they can like help him at all. I was like, yeah, damn it. And yeah, so he's buried at 303 Flats, right off by the river, his resting place. So he's a legend for sure.
Where do
R.I.P. When my friend John Thomas, he played baseball at the University of Southern California. Now he's a designer guy. He does like a lot of Leatherman jackets for the WNBA. He's always sending me memories and posting Crash on the story, and Pitt will send me some memories too. So he's a one-on-one. You can't get another one. One of a kind. Yeah.
This is like the tutoring. Now you're done. Now you don't have to talk about.
Hey, yeah, exactly. They were. It was like 50 minutes, you know, the little talking and playing with the ferret and stuff like that, and I was done. Yeah.
So running back.
Now we know why he can't catch any balls. All those ferret bites all over his hands.
That's right. You know, he started the press conference with that whole ferret story, and it ran like 9 minutes. I cut it down and I put it in chronological order of the story because it was all over the place. Yeah. But the one thing that caught me is I cut it out one part where he said, you know, the ferret was over at my grandmother's house and I was gone for a while. And when I came home, he was paralyzed from the waist down. And I want to get whoever was responsible for that. And then a reporter asked a follow-up, well, who are you going to get? And he didn't answer the question. He deviated. So perhaps he suspects that his grandmother or somebody in the home fucked the ferret up and paralyzed the poor thing.
Get this damn ferret out of here, boot.
Yeah, exactly.
Kicked it across the room.
I'm just speculating, so please don't sue me, anyone. But Dan and Nikki, you got any good ferret stories?
I used to date a guy who had a pet ferret, and I hated that motherfucker. Like,
really?
Who was the guy?
Steve Matthews.
Oh, the guy Argyle.
Yeah, he was in a band. He was in a terrible, terrible band. But anyway, yeah, he had a pet ferret, and I hated that thing. It would bite. It was stinky. Like, I did not like that thing.
Yeah, I don't know about, them having them as a pet. What I found some video of ferrets, and I found a video of a ferret annihilating a mouse. And it was too gross even for me to put on this show. I thought people would have been shocked by it because it was a real murder of a mouse by a fucking ferret.
And you can't even pet them either. Like, not only because, they're bitey, but like, their skin secretes an oil. That's what like the stink is.
Sounds
and
horrible.
like they're greasy. They are greasy, like a greasy rat. Like, yeah.
Sounds like not even the French would eat it, huh?
No, I don't think so.
I kind of like Velas more after that story, though.
Yeah, me too.
Before I was like, oh man, let's get rid of this guy. Like, I wondered, did Caleb and Velas cross paths over at USC? Probably not.
No, because in Velas's last year at
It was at
USC,
Tennessee. JT Daniels is a quarterback. But
Williams was at Oklahoma when
okay.
Bayless was at USC. Yeah. All right, I got some sound bites from the last couple of press conferences that I'd like for us to react to. One of the players on this defense who could be of a great big use to the Bears and not having to acquire another defensive end. There's actually two guys, Austin Booker, which we'll talk a little bit about, but also Dominic Robinson, who is in his third year with the team and seems to be making some strides. Part of the reason that he's playing better is because he spent the offseason unlike any of his other off seasons where he was really working out and adding some weight. This is him talking about his workout regime.
Are you a guy who struggles to put on that weight?
Not really. It got put on pretty honestly once I got the right numbers to put that weight on. It was fairly easy. I just had to stick to it. It sucked because you're trying to eat so much and you're not hungry at times, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
And then in what ways can you feel that added strength on the football field?
In all honesty, that play that I made on that third down was a huge factor because I had a pulling tackle coming back to kick me out, but I was able to kind of hold my ground and still stand firm in my gap and then make the play at the same time. Last year, I don't know if I would have been able to do that personally. I think I probably got kicked out.
And then this is him about why he basically went through this arduous workout regime and putting on more weight because Herb Howard asked him, is this a now or never situation with you with Chicago Bears?
I mean, being realistic, yeah. I've been put in a position where in my head I feel like it's either I take the spot or, it's football. So it's business. So I came in trying to prove a point. So
what do you think you've proven so far? I know you got the start opposite DeMarcus the other day.
Yeah. Handling my business in practice, some people went down, made a few plays. Next thing you know, I'm up. So I think my practice stuff can show for it, and then I get in the game and have a huge stop on third down. Coach makes a call and the players make it come alive. So
this guy is, in my opinion, huge to the Bears defense if he can play at the same kind of level we saw in Baltimore. Maybe he doesn't need to come up with a lot of sacks. He had a sack and a half in his first game with the Bears, which was the season where they start the monsoon game, San Francisco 49ers at Soldier Field. And then the rest of the season didn't have a sack. And then last season he had only a half a sack. So he's got only 2 sacks in 2 seasons. But if he can play stout against the run, like we saw him against Buffalo, that would be such a huge addition to this team. Tooch, do you hold any chances, any hopes that Dominic Robinson can help this team?
Not just because Poles doesn't like to give up on his picks, but I mean, he's 6'5".
Yeah,
length. He's got the length. He's not that much smaller than Montez Sweat.
Right.
Sweat's 6'6", 260 something,
Mhm.
and Robinson's like 6'5", 250 something. They're only about an inch and 10 pounds apart. If you could put it together. I mean, it's going to be tough because guys like Jacob Martin and Daniel Hardy are playing well. Also, they seem to be getting, making plays a little bit more, and that could just be luck, or we'll see. That's definitely, you got to figure Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, and Austin Booker are locks.
Mhm.
How many they keep after that? Maybe one or two after that. So those Hardy, Martin, Kareem Khalid or whatever,
right?
Or Khalid Kareem, and Jacob Martin are all fighting for one or two positions.
Yeah. Dan, what are your thoughts on Dominique?
I thought he was incredibly honest in the presser there.
About it.
Yeah, he knows if he doesn't seize the opportunity, he could be gone. He's like, and I understand it's business. So yeah, I just thought he was incredibly forthcoming there, forthright. I'm going to be rooting for him more now, just knowing that he realizes this is it for him. And by the way, I've been sitting on this, not to change the subject, but Hard Knocks, according to NBC Sports Chicago, the Bears' first episode was the highest rating they've had on the show in 5 years.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, the Bears franchise is a money-making operation. When they're on TV, TV ratings are up. That's why they still put them on national TV, despite the fact that they suck. The 85 Bears are so popular, and there still is that residue of that popularity, even decades now later, that most people are not familiar with the 85 Bears. So it was nice. It was nice to see those ratings that high, but last night there was a fiasco, and that HBO Max, the streaming service, didn't start the show on time. In fact, it was like late by an hour and 10 minutes. Are you aware of this, Tooch?
Yeah,
I was aware of it.
In my
you were too, Nikki?
That was my Luke Getzey joke. It was it started late because Luke Getzey's working at HBO and the play calls weren't getting in on time. Yeah,
she was trying to
Well
watch
done.
on
Well
the
done.
HBO or the Max app, and I was like, man, she's like, it hasn't started yet. I was like, well, you're behind. I was like, just fucking watch it on my YouTube TV, and then she could watch.
Yeah.
The live was playing, if you were just watching like, HBO, the channel live or whatever, it came on there. It's just streaming on demand on the Max app. It wasn't available for an hour.
Well, Nikki, didn't you say it wasn't working at all? Even
No,
live?
well, yeah, I tried. I mean, 9 o'clock, because last week, I tuned in like 9 o'clock, 9:01, boom, it was on there.
Keep in mind, it's 9 East for us. I know
Yeah.
it's 8 for you all.
Yeah. So, and then then the last night I went to watch, and it kept on the first episode, and the second episode wouldn't pop up as an option for me to watch live or anything. Like, it just would not pop up. So after fucking with for 10 minutes, that's when Danny was like, just go watch it on my YouTube TV. And I was like, okay. So, I ran downstairs because our bedroom has YouTube TV. So I just with there and watched it.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that there was any problem at all because I still have cable. I'm one of the last remaining people in Chicago with cable. And
oh boy, Cliff, get that $15 back.
I knew Cliff would do that.
Yeah.
Good for you, Cliff. Get your money back.
Every little bit counts.
So now I want to turn over to the other defensive end prospect that could be delivering for this defensive line, and that's Austin Booker. Everybody is super excited by him. The comparisons to him and Max Crosby, the defensive end from the Raiders, are really, to me, stunning because Max Crosby is like a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I really like Max Crosby coming out. I drafted him over and over in mock drafts in the 7th round.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to me, Booker's faster. You know, he plays a little more in line. I mean, Max Crosby's a little more get around the edge, shiftier or craftier. You know, Austin Booker plays. I mean, Max Crosby plays a lot of power too. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, sure does.
Austin Booker, man, he's fast. He converts speed to power really well, man. He's got the offensive linemen on their heels all the time, knocks them back, hustles, speed in pursuit. It's great, man. I would start him, I'd start him over DeMarcus Walker.
Well, he's certainly in any passing situation, he should be in that lineup. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
So we'll see. This is him talking about, because one of the things that Nagy has complimented him is that he is instinctive, that he doesn't line up and say, I'm going to do this move on this guy.
Nagy back?
Did I say Matt Nagy? Yeah, I did.
I got a little worried there for a second. I'm like, what's he consulting for the Bears? Get that fucker out of here.
I'm never going to smoke that weed again. Eberflus has been complimenting him, saying he doesn't, he improvises a lot. So this is Austin Booker talking about.
I don't have a set move that I'm about to hit or anything like that. The only thing I will set is either going harder inside or harder outside. Because if I go harder inside, then I'm probably going to spin out and work back in or something. Or I go hard upfield and then I'm going to go inside. So that's the only thing that I predetermine. Everything else is just reaction.
Was it, I guess, like in terms of your pass rush repertoire, and what you feel like you still have left on the table? Like, is there a move that you feel like you're trying to add over the next couple of weeks to make you a more complete pass rusher by the time the season gets here?
I feel like I have about every move in my bag. I can definitely get better at those for sure. But yeah, long arm's my fastball, and then I just work off that. Whether that's spin, whether that's arm over, everything else just goes. It just happens.
Also, we saw you with your hand in the dirt and also in a 2-point stance. What about that versatility helps you as a pass rusher?
Yeah, I mean, also I stand up a lot just because we had a lot of chippers last week, so it was easy for me to get off the chipper. But also, if we have like a train where I'm taking the running back, if he flares out, then that's easier for me to stand up and go get that. So yeah, just random mixing it in, and also. I feel like if you're standing up wider out, then they're more eager to get out to you. So that's when you can set that inside move a little more too. But that goes hand in hand with the width that I am away from the tackles. So.
Yeah, long arms, man. He's getting double teamed already, man.
Yeah, getting double teamed already.
Yeah.
Now he did a lot of that damage in the Buffalo game against second and third stringers. So now he did look good against the first stringers because he was in for a few downs against the Buffalo Bills first stringers. But this Cincinnati Bengals game, he should start and he should play the entire first half.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. He's getting some good coaching, man. You can tell.
Yeah, he is.
His hand placement, his arm motion. Getting the moves down, learning to read the plays, everything, man. Get some good coaching. That's like Eric Washington, man.
Yep. Dan, I know that you and Tooch listened to the show when we had on, this is years ago, when we had on Akeem Hicks.
Yes.
And one of the things that really stuck in my mind is that he shared that every training camp, he brought a new move that he was going to perfect by the end of training camp. And I was always pissed off with the Chicago media that they didn't know that because they weren't watching our show, perhaps, or that they never followed up in subsequent seasons and asked Akeem, what was it that you worked on last year? Can you give us a clue on what we're working on this year? But anyway, I'm bringing it up because Austin Booker says, I think I got every pass move that I have in my repertoire, so to speak. He said, he's going to have to continue to work on more and more moves because even in that press conference, he was sharing a couple of things that I know that the opposing team is probably saying, okay, let's use this information to see how we can better, more effectively block. So that guy's continually going to have to work at his craft to get better and better with more exotic and different pass looks. If anyone in the chat is an expert on that, please share a thought.
I think for his first couple of games, the linemen are surprised by how strong he is.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. Man, I get shocked.
Because he's got great leverage,
good leverage, long arms, and he's country strong.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets stronger, he's just going to be a menace if he puts it all together. I really love the pick.
Dan, does number 96 Booker sound like a jersey you might potentially be purchasing? 94, excuse me.
Is he 94? He's 94, right?
I don't know. Dan, what number is he?
I think it was 94.
Yeah, 96 is Zach Pickens.
Yeah, I maybe he'd have to excel on the field for me to drop some money on it. I still think if my next jersey I'd like to get is probably Sweat. But we'll see. I didn't mind that he was revealing stuff about his technique in the presser, because at the end of the day on defense, if you recall, like let's say the height of the Bears with Lovey, they basically, you knew where every player was going to be and you knew what they were going to do, but they were going to be there, like Tillman or Urlacher or Briggs. You knew where they were going to be, but they were still couldn't stop them. So I think the kid, it's okay for him to reveal like his thoughts on it. He just has to excel.
Yeah.
And they know, I mean, how many different angles can you come from? I mean, they ultimately know where you're going to be especially if he starts making plays, they're going to have someone to account for him. And then it's up to him just to be able to win on any given play.
I do love this new defensive coordinator, Eric Washington. I think that the players are really benefiting from his instruction and his scheming. We saw against Buffalo, Jervon Dexter was playing almost a nose tackle. He was between the center and the guard, playing that one position. And we saw Billings, the big 6 foot, 7,000-pound guy, playing the 3 tech, which is usually the position you want your faster, quicker defensive tackle. But he was doing the job. He was disrupting. He was pushing the guard all the way back into the quarterback's lap. So that's Eric Washington. And he has said, and Montez Sweat has said, that he's going to move Montez Sweat around in the defensive line. When was the last time we saw that kind of creativity coming from a Bears defensive coordinator? Buddy Ryan is my guess, because everybody after him, Tobin and on and all the way to fucking John Fox and stuff. Well, maybe Fangio was creative. Definitely Fangio was creative because he was very innovative with his defensive back schemes. But in terms of putting pressure on the quarterback, this is a welcome sight, Eric Washington.
This coaching staff is way better than last year.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And the offensive play calling, I love Waldron's getting Caleb out of the pocket on the run and taking advantage of his playmaking skills on throwing on the run. Yeah, there was some nice bootlegs and waggles. He ran out and hit guys while he was on the run. Man, it looks really good. I'm really excited for Caleb Williams. It looks like he had command of the offense for the most part. He seems like a smart kid. We'll see when he starts getting the bullets are flying for real. But so far, real encouraging. I love the coaching staff so far, man.
I like the
running backs coach, the defensive line coach.
Yeah,
I like that when Eberflus's job was on the line midway through last season, he become more aggressive, and just wasn't in that cover 2 shell that has just been. Everyone knows how to beat it now, and I'm hoping that will continue, especially with Mr. Washington as the DC and the pervert out of there. Alleged pervert, Alan Williams. But I hope that they don't play soft and I just need them to be aggressive as the season starts. Because if you recall, they had that run 5-6 games, and then what they do? They went to Lambeau and wasn't aggressive again. Just keep it on the gas, man.
I got a question for Nikki.
That's right, Danny.
Nikki, if you worked in human resources and you learned that one of your employees, who just happens to be the defensive coordinator of Chicago Bears, was, I'm not saying he was, but if you learned that he was masturbating to porn in his office, would you fire him?
In his private office with the door shut and locked?
Yes. On the clock, though.
And we're just speculating. We didn't say it really happened. But go ahead, Nikki.
If he's on the clock, I can see that there being a professional problem.
Yeah, I mean, like you're supposed to be breaking tape down with the Packers. Instead,
he's
like, looking at Asian porn.
He's on Pornhub yanking it. So I don't know. I myself have never. I don't think I've ever masturbated at work. No, I've never masturbated at work.
Really? What about at school?
No, I fucked Danny at school.
Wow. That's true.
Yeah, we fucked in defunct school buses on the.
Yeah, they used to have like 50 old school buses out. behind the school. So we'd go and get one of those buses and at lunch or skip we had block scheduling when we were in school. There were 4 classes a day.
They were hour and a half long.
Yeah. So that was it. So we might skip a block and go fucking the bus.
I tell you, I have masturbated everywhere, in bars and cars and trains.
Oh, I've done it in the car.
Planes, trains, and
While driving.
automobiles.
It's actually a line from the movies.
Danny's right though. Danny made a great point. It's like once we play Green Bay, it's like we forget that what made us successful.
Yes,
right, Danny.
Yeah, and even that ultimately proved to be Fields' last game. It just felt like even the offense with everything on the line, like to save your job, Lou Getzey, it just felt like the offense was playing quote unquote vanilla the way they do in a preseason game, not really showing too much, and the defense was not aggressive. They came back with the same game plan from week 1 when they were smashed at Soldier Field. They came back and played the same way.
Yep.
Like, at least go out with what, if you have 5 or 6 weeks when you're bringing pressure constantly and that seems to be helping you win, then just keep doing it. Okay, it's on tape now. So what?
Yep.
Go out there and play harder and beat your man. They just get to Green Bay and they always do the opposite of what they've been doing successfully. And I don't know why that is.
It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen this year. I was talking about Eric Washington and Austin Booker. This is the defensive coordinator on his rookie pass.
Yeah, he's getting better, and he's doing some good things. He had some production on the quarterback. He was physical with his rushes. He never gave up on his rushes. He kept himself in contention, so he's doing some really nice things. Well, I think he's got an innate feel, and the good rushers are hard to hit. They're hard to stall. And they understand at max speed how to engage their hands, how to contort their body, how to counter at max speed without having to slow themselves down and allow the protection to kind of catch up with what they're doing, whether they're staying outside or trying to work inside. He has a great feel for that. And right now, what he's going through is taking what he brings to the table and combining that with all of the other details that he has to have from an assignment standpoint situationally, so he can play good, clean football and we can get maximum benefit from what he can do.
How does the guy have a feel when he only plays 500 snaps in college?
Well, that's a great question. That's just what he's blessed with, his God-given talent, and also what he's done before he even got here in terms of just understanding that position, the game of football, and how to rush and against protections and some of those things. So a lot of credit goes to him and what he's able to do.
This guy sounds like a fucking
he is so much better than Alan Williams.
Oh my God. I think Alan Williams was watching gay porn. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
Some of Tooch's old roles, huh?
That's right.
Hey, gay porn is passionate.
Really? Tell us more.
It is passionate. Gay porn is like so much more passionate. I'm telling you, like sometimes, when you watch straight porn, there you go. I mean, it's just so mechanical sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, you blow me and I'll eat you. And then, we start fucking and like, it's just so mechanical. But like, I don't know, like when you watch 2 men fuck, like, oh my God, like it's, I guess maybe because of all the testosterone or something, but man, they get really into it.
I'd like to ask Zach and Cliff in the chat room. Can you confirm that? I couldn't pick one.
There was a joke coming somewhere.
I was once in a porn shop and, so I'm looking for a video to jerk off to that night. And I look up and there's a monitor and there's 2 men fucking. And I'm like, oh my God, please. I ran out of the fucking porn place. And I think I jerked off to the Brady Bunch or something.
Wow.
That's something else we heard on Stern today. The guy was saying that he's so into Jennifer Aniston that whenever she does a lotion commercial, I'm not familiar.
Vino. It's a Vino lotion.
He said that he could just be doing whatever he's doing and the spot airs and he can almost come without even touching it.
Wow.
Not even touch his dick and come.
That's how
talent.
hot. I don't think no offense. I don't think anybody's that hot where I could come without even tugging on it 350 times.
Oh, I have.
You've seriously come without any stimulation to your dick.
Yeah, actually.
Serious.
Are you talking about like old, like, days of when you're like 14 or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's okay.
See, I never could do that. I always wanted to have one of those like wet dreams. I was like, man, if I could wake up and there's like nut everywhere. I'd be like, how amazing is that? I didn't even do the work, and it's never happened to me. Never.
I still have wet dreams, but nothing comes out.
Oh God!
Oh God! Dust comes out.
Exactly. All right, so enough about Austin Booker. Let us remind people that.
Okay, guys and girls, if you like what you see, give us a like, press the bell, and subscribe. Thank you, sweetie pies.
I think Woody Allen has a hard on right now.
Wow.
Let's see what else I got here. Okay, one of the things that we are all worried about is the offensive line. I mean, in particular, there's several issues with their offensive line, but the left tackle, Braxton Jones, has had trouble with the bull rush. He seems to, have everything that the Bears want. He's got the athleticism. He can run. He can get outside. He can do sweeps from the left tackle position. But when he's facing a defensive end that just puts his shoulder on him and pushes him back, Braxton has not been good at it. So he was asked for a progress report on it.
As camps progress, I definitely think it's gotten a lot better for myself. I'm starting to really see the numbers to me when I get back in my set, and I really see those numbers and starting to punch them and anchoring down on it a lot better. So I'm starting to see it a lot quicker. I still think there's just some improvement when they're attacking my inside shoulder, but other than that, I'm definitely getting better each day.
Is such good news because, and again, he's kind of revealing to the opposition, if you go inside on me with a bull rush, I'm going to have some problems. But so maybe he shouldn't have said that. But I do appreciate the transparency that a lot of the Bears and some of the coaches are showing now as opposed to yesteryear. But back to my point about Braxton Jones, man, if he can correct that one part of his game, he's going to be a top 10 left tackle who was selected. In, what round was he selected in, Tooch? Wasn't he like a five or
Fifth round.
Fifth round, right. From a small school that nobody heard of and stuff. So
Southern Utah University.
Yep. Patience, pays off sometimes with some of these players. I know Cole Kmet, started slowly, and a lot of people were upset with that pick. But, for a lot of players in certain position groups, it does take a while. And this guy could potentially be a really good left tackle for a low price.
Yeah, I wonder if those injuries kept him from putting on weight, working out and getting some good quality weight on, getting stronger, so he can anchor. He's always been a little light in the pants,
Yeah.
If he got a little better lower body strength or weight on, he might be able to anchor a little better. But yeah, I mean, he's better than Charles Leno, I think. But
I like Charles Leno.
I know, so do I. Yeah.
But you're right, he is better than Charles. At this point in their careers, there's
a lot
no
of
doubt.
snaps for us. Leno.
Yeah. What do you think about the play of Braxton Jones, Mr. Dan Aguire?
I have to be honest, like watching the game again, I had the Buffalo announcers.
Oh, okay.
So I could have like stopped and put it in slow-mo and all that, but I was watching it more for entertainment purposes versus trying to, to be draft Dr. Phil. I don't know. Like they didn't even announce who the starters were. That's 2 straight games where they didn't even say who was on the line. I know I saw Jenkins at left guard. I don't even know if Nate Davis played. They never focused on the line or said who was in the lineup. And I was just kind of, like I said, I just gotten back from the weekend and just had the game on. I was just watching, like everybody, just watching it for fun. So I can't break down the line play. And it was never even spoken about. But again, we had the Buffalo announcers, which was just fucking dreadful.
Well, and it was the same thing with the Chicago broadcast, and it's been that way since I've been watching preseason games, and it's something that really bugs the fuck out of me. These TV producers have to realize This is not like a regular NFL season game. This is about the third stringer trying to beat the second stringer. This is about the second stringer trying to beat the first stringer. So you have got to tell us those stories. And they should have a graphic. Every time there's changes in the offensive line, they should have a graphic with those five guys who are starting on the offensive line and the 4 for the defensive line. And they should be telling us stories throughout the broadcast as opposed to bringing in Jalen John or Keenan Allen. They did it in Chicago. They did an interview with Keenan Allen. It was cute. It was fine. But I'd rather they did they spent the 30, 40 seconds they interviewed Keenan Allen learning about Matt Pryor, who was playing the right one of the guard positions and played really, really well. So give me that as opposed, which is a relevant story for us Bears fans, as opposed to interviewing a superstar who has already been interviewed, 20 times prior to the game and will be interviewed 200 times the rest of the season. So there's my.
I think that at the very minimum, at least tell us who's starting.
Thank you.
Like, give us the 11 names of who's in the game as it starts. And it's fair to surmise that you could tell me if they've made a change. Well, Braxton Jones played the first 2 series, and now, Larry Borum's in, just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to tell me who's in and who's out. Like, imagine if you were watching an NBA game and they didn't tell you when substitutions come, you'd be out of your fucking mind. And I feel like the line are the same way,
Totally think they need to do that differently. They need to produce preseason games totally different than they do regular season games.
The offensive line played pretty well.
They did.
The Bears or the Bills stud Ed Oliver went out early. I think he was injured. Not that he probably would have played much, but he could be a problem for teams. On the Bills defensive line. Matt Pryor, if you ask Baralissimo and Greg Gabriel, they'd say played pretty well. He is massive. He's like 6'7", 335.
Yeah.
A big guy. Played, this is his 7th year. He's played for the Eagles, the Colts. I think last year was on the 49ers. But a big dude.
So did he start at right guard then?
I think he was at right guard, if I'm not mistaken.
If he's playing well, then Nate Davis has to go, right?
I think he's like number 79? I thought on the I have to look that up. Let me see. It's number 79 on the offensive line.
Well, hopefully Saturday, I'll probably have to watch the game at night because I work during when it's on because it's like a noon kick, I believe. Hopefully the Bears announcers were Jim Miller and what's the other guy's name? Works for Fox. Anyway, I'm hoping they at least
Adam Amin.
He's decent.
Yeah.
Hopefully they talk about who's on the line and the positions because the third game again traditionally this is the important game. The fourth one's kind of like okay. The guys that are on the bubble, go out there and solidify your spot, do your best, and they're going to get most of that time, the mop-up time.
Yep. Yeah, I wish, the NFL coaches were more aligned as to what they're going to do in terms of playing time for starters, because when it was 4 preseason games, we all knew that the starters were going to play 2 to 3 quarters. And then the 4th preseason game, no starters were going to. Now we don't really have a good sense as to how they're handling this 3-game preseason for the 30 other teams that did not participate in the Hall of Fame game. Hey, I went off camera quickly because I wanted to share a video. This is Kyle Long talking about the Bears offensive line.
Yeah,
so pretty interesting.
A litany of quarterbacks that I protected during my time in Chicago, and the pressure was always high, but I had never experienced pressure so high as when I stepped into the offensive line room in Kansas City and I watched the unit that was tasked with protecting Patrick Mahomes and the tremendous amount of pride that they took in not only playing snap to whistle, but sometimes just after the whistle, because that's how their quarterback plays. When I look at the way that the Chicago Bears offensive line played in Buffalo, particularly when number 18 was in, and even when Bajent was in the game, they are playing a very inspired brand of football. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they know that they have a fighting chance. They know what they've got in that number one pick.
Isn't that cool to listen to, Mr. Aguire?
Absolutely. I was hoping you had more.
I actually cut it a little short, but yeah, he was waxing eloquently about the Chicago Bears offensive line and the improved aggressiveness that he's seeing. I got to admit, the quarterback does make a lot of difference, and everything that you're hearing about his teammates, Caleb's teammates, are just, they're showering him with praise, and it's really great to see that. And I know when I played Sandlot Sports, when I got picked for a team and all of a sudden there's a superstar on my team, one of the Sandlot guys who was better than everybody else, I wanted to play a little harder with him, so that I could enjoy a victory alongside of him, and get an attaboy from him. And I'm sure that even happens at the pro level with the offensive lineman. Yeah.
There was Kyle Long drafted by Phil Emery.
Who?
I think Kyle was drafted by Phil Emery.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep. Yes.
It's
in the first round.
He and Tariq Cohen both look like they could have been really, really good players for a long time. And injury, Kyle played a few more years, of course, but that injury he sustained in Tampa Bay really took him down, and he was never the same player. And obviously, you remember Cohen, I think it was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
In one of those weird games without a crowd during COVID.
Yep.
And he just retired again. Like he just another failed comeback attempt. I feel so badly for him because he was like 5'7" and had a tremendous heart. Yeah. And was explosive, but again, he and Kyle both had their careers cut short because of injury.
So Sadie Rivera has a question. Am I dreaming, or is 18 Caleb Williams going to reverse the QB1 curse for the Chicago Bears? I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Even Nikki, who has not suffered as much as us, but she knows very well about the Bears quarterback curse.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, Tooch. Give me your opinion first.
I mean, it's early, but I mentioned it in Bears State of Affairs. That sure looks like it.
Yeah.
Too early to tell, but boy, it sure looks like it.
Nikki, what do you think?
I think, okay, maybe I'm superstitious. Maybe. Everything has went so well this year. I think that it would just be perfect if this went as well too. I think this could be the year because, like I said, because Danny and I got married, we found each other again, we got married, everything's going great, and I don't know. I have a good feeling because we have this new kid in here. He's getting a lot of buzz, and I'm confident. I'm confident, very confident that this is going to work out.
And
I was so confident with Justin Fields. I was so confident. I, again, wasn't pounding my chest confident on Trubisky, but I had high hopes, and I definitely was this confident with Jay. But like she said, most things so far the arrow's up.
Yes.
We said that so many times with Fields too, though, but it does seem like the Bears have gotten this right. You just got to hope he stays healthy. Like we mentioned the Minnesota thing with McCarthy. That's a terrible injury, out for the season. I wasn't rooting for that for him. I really wasn't. But if you told me Jordan Love got hurt like that, I'd probably be like, oh, okay, good. But with Green Bay. But again, just keep him healthy, and the sky is the limit, to use a cliche.
Yeah. See, I think this is really it. Finally, I know, a lot of it is based on just being a fan and wanting it to happen. But, the guy is the first overall pick for a reason. He played these 2 college football seasons that he just looked great. The season that he won the Heisman, 40 touchdown passes, just 5 interceptions. And last season, he was surrounded by a bunch of players that didn't play well. And by the middle of the season, he was trying to be Superman. And you could still see he was going to be a great quarterback, but he made a lot more mistakes in his last season in college football. But all of those attributes, that throw to Cole Kmet down the sideline, you don't see that other quarterback.
You text me that play. Because, again, I was at Kings Island and wasn't watching live. So I was like, all right, we're back at the hotel. How'd Caleb do? Is he okay? Is he healthy? I didn't want to see the score. And you were
Drop-
like, you
drop
sent me
that
that
one in
play.
there.
You're like, look at this fucking throw. And I was like, yeah. So
Because it really was a fucking throw. Anybody who, would have watched it live would have probably had a better appreciation than those of us who watched on TV. And anyone that has ever played football and thrown a football would have said, holy fuck, that ball traveled 20, 30 yards on a rope.
Yeah.
Running as fast as possible. And it was, accuracy-wise, I would give it a 97 because Cole had to stop a little bit to get it. If he would have had a little more in front of it, it would have been an absolutely perfect pass. But it was a thing of beauty. It's the stuff that made me fall in love with Patrick Mahomes when I saw him in college.
I don't want to besmirch Fields when I say this because, as you know, I was a Justin Fields fan. That throw, I don't think I ever saw him make in Chicago. And again, he had such incredible athleticism, and you think on the move he'd be great, but it felt like that was the throw that he generally would overthrow.
Yeah.
Out of bounds.
I remember a couple
nice
of
throws too, though.
Yeah, I remember a couple of Fields throws that were like wow, which is why I kept rooting for him, because he did the wow throws. It was the fucking regular throws that he couldn't do.
Right. I mean,
the simple shit.
Yeah, I was a huge fan, so I don't want anybody to take that and be like, oh, he was talking smack.
Yeah, you haven't burned your Justin Fields jerseys?
Of course not. I'm wishing him well in Pittsburgh too.
There you go. And he did not play well in that game. He had a couple fumbles.
Yeah,
but
his very first throw too was like a 20-yard bullet to DJ Moore, man. How about DJ Moore, man? DJ Moore's tough.
How about that little pass he did to Swift? Now,
Yes.
that was
Little
again
shovel pass.
Yeah, it's like, it's not that creative, but is it? I mean, under duress, again, that's a Brett Favre, Mahomes kind of play.
It was a 42-yard pass play.
Yeah, and Swift looks fast. I mean, obviously we saw him in Detroit. He really played much better in Philly, but maybe he was with a better team. But he looked good against Buffalo when he was in there.
I got to go back to Cliff Victoria had a comment up there that Poles had a choice between Justin Fields plus a draft haul or Caleb Williams, and sometimes, I mean, the temptation to take the draft haul was probably huge, and sometimes you will have to go with the not so obvious decision, or he made the right. Looks like he made the right decision here.
Yep. Well, there was somebody I wish I would have remembered. I wish I could remember the guy's name, but he was making an argument on social media today that all the great quarterbacks have had great creative weapons around them so that they can throw a ball a little bit inaccurately. Calvin Megatron Johnson, he can make that catch. Jerry Rice, he can make that catch, and he can get the yards after catch, and so on and so on. And so it's always going to remain a mystery if Justin Fields would have inherited the team that Caleb Williams is inheriting with 3 all-pro caliber wide receivers in Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore, 2 outstanding pass-catching tight ends in Gerald Everett and Cole Kmet, a pass-catching running back in DJ Swift. Who knows what Justin could have done? We'll never know. We'll never know. He's got a chance to maybe give us a glimpse of what that will be like with the Steelers because they've got some offensive weapons too. But, he lost 3 years of his career, Justin did, by being with the Chicago Bears, who had no talent when he was here.
Hey, he signed a 1-year deal, right? He's
Yes.
a free agent, but don't look now if for some reason he would hang on. Pittsburgh at Chicago next season, 2025.
Ooh, I'll be there. I want to go to games again. All of a sudden I got the fever to go to games, and I guess it's because of Caleb. Outstanding stuff. Let me see if I got another video for us to react to. I think I've played them all. I do have you guys have any thoughts on the new kickoff rule?
I don't. Maybe it'll be explosive or in the regular season. As of right now, it just seems kind of dull or less than professional. It seems like something they would be doing in a semi-pro league. It feels beneath the NFL to me.
Yeah. Well, this is what Hightower said after he kind of analyzed all the kickoffs from across the NFL from the week 1 of the preseason.
It's 2 things, really, 2 major things. We're at an 80% return rate during the first week versus what was 22% return rate. And the other thing that has really stood out to us is the starting yard line after kickoff. It is 29 yard line, and that is the highest it's been since 2000. So those are the two things that are really standing out to us, which will affect your in-game strategy as you go forward.
So let me ask you guys this. Wouldn't you rather just kick it into the end zone? They're going to place the ball at the 30-yard line. The average is now 29 that people are getting on their run backs. Why risk anybody breaking that, making 29, 69 yards for a touchdown or whatever? Just kick it out of the end zone. Doesn't that seem like good strategy, Tooch?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really I haven't gotten used to this new kickoff rule yet. I don't know who has really, to be honest. You know, I mean,
it's early.
It's early. It's going to take a while to either figure out, grow on me, or for teams to figure out how to make it work or stop it. You know, definitely there'll be an adapting period, I think. But man, I'm not a fan so far. You know, I got to be honest with you. I'm more of a traditionalist.
What do you think, Dan?
I agree. I mean, maybe it'll end up being like Cliff says, some wild kickoff returns. You know, I mean, we all remember how special it was watching Devin Hester at any moment take it back. And then even Cordero Patterson had some moments with the Bears where you just felt like, oh, okay, maybe he's going to run it back, or Tariq Cohen. So maybe Velus can do that. I don't know, but we'll see. Right now, so far in the preseason, it feels like it's a miss, but those are good stats there by Hightower, though.
Bears have really had some good kickoff returners. You know, going back to Gale Sayers, Gale Sayers and Devin Hester, the two best I've ever seen on the Bears.
You know who was very underrated was Dennis Gentry.
Gentry, another one. Johnny Bailey, remember
Dennis
Johnny Bailey?
McKinnon. Dennis McKinnon did some
Johnny
good work.
Bailey was kind of like a Tariq Cohen shifty, punt returner. You know Johnny Bailey, 22.
Johnny Bailey, I would have totally forgotten about him for the rest of my life if you had not brought up his name.
He was only here like 2 years, though. Yeah. That's the thing. He was in Arizona right after that, or Phoenix.
Yeah. And then, Hester, Cordero Patterson,
Glenn Milburn.
We had some good ones come through, man. We've always had a pretty good punt returner. We're in a little bit of a dry spell here for quality punt returners, though. But how you guys think Velus Jones makes the team? I mean, aside from like Poles, his preference for draft picks, that was a pretty high draft pick for him. It was day 2 pick.
The thing about Velus is that he's playing special teams, but he's also not just returning kicks. He's on the team to get the tackle, the kickoff team, and so that's increasing his value tremendously. He's a lot bigger and stronger than I think a lot of people realize, and so if he continues to excel at special teams, I think that's going to be important. He could be. There's 3 guys here: Wheeler, Colin Johnson, who had a big week in the Hall of Fame game, and Velus Jones. Those 3 guys, I think, are fighting for 2 spots, maybe even just 1.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that's going to be an interesting thing to follow. But
that toss sweep to Velus out of the backfield where he played in the running back, that's going to be if they can perfect that, it's going to be pretty tough to stop. He's got some wheels,
Yes, he does.
But that, Ian Wheeler is fast too, man. He's got the breakaway speed that we don't have, But well, I mean, Khalil Herbert's got some breakaway speed, but this kid is really fast.
I got a question for Nikki. When Tooch said that he's a traditionalist, he doesn't like the new kickoff. Did you immediately, like me, get the impression that he's just a missionary? That's right. He's just a missionary.
If he did porn, he's fucking lying. He is not a traditionalist. He's doing ass stuff.
We're talking about his ass too, right?
Yeah, both ways.
Oh my God!
All kinds of ass stuff.
My buddy's in the chat room, Aldo.
Who's that? Sean.
Sean is here.
Oh, come on! Stop that, Sean. Sean, stop. Just
that
stop.
Tennessee game, I mentioned it before, reminds me of that Buffalo game in week 1 of 2014, where you're like, oh, we're going to win that one because Buffalo wasn't good back then. Like, it was like EJ Manuel was their quarterback.
I did not.
And then Buffalo beats us in overtime. Like, this is a must win. They have to beat Tennessee.
Yes, last year everybody knows how like almost cried when we lost against the Packers. I think I will literally fucking bawl my eyes off if we lose this first game against the Titans.
Sean and I have been talking about most passing yards for a rookie this season. Caleb Williams, but Jaden Daniels looks pretty good too, man. The Commanders was the number 2 pick, right behind Caleb Williams. So, I mean, like I said, the polls had to make the decision. Does he trade back and take Daniels, and get a draft haul, or does he stick to his guns and take Caleb Williams? That was a tough decision.
I wish I had a highlight of this Commanders quarterback because the guy looks like I could kick his ass. He is so thin. He is so fucking thin. I don't know if he's going to last in the NFL.
Yeah, it's possible. He is a real student of the game, man. He's one of those guys, first in the building, last out of the building.
Well, they said that about Trubisky too.
Studies film like a madman. We'll see though. I mean, he looked like he had command of the offense too in the first couple preseason games or first preseason game.
Remember, Trubisky he's the last guy to leave.
I don't believe that.
Well, I'm just saying that was being propagated when Mitch was our quarterback. So
does he really seem like he was though? He had to read a book on leadership.
That's right.
He probably had to read a book on how to watch film.
By the way, for those people who do not know who Sean Higgs is, he is the co-host of Weekend Sports Betting Tips with John Santucci. And I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the other your third person.
Anthony Iglesias.
Anthony, I love you, Anthony.
Enrique Iglesias is on the
show. I hear another Latino name. We got
Anthony.
He's Italian.
Red hot.
Okay.
Red hot baseball season. He's just he's killing it this second half of the season.
So I wanted to ask you, of the three of you, Tooch, who is the best football gambler? Who can I rely on the most? If I tune in to Weekend Sports Betting Tips, you guys have 3 different opinions on the best bet of the weekend. Who should I listen to?
Sean he's the king, man. He's his number one. Sean's the best.
Are you saying that only because he's in the chat room?
No. I mean, Sean's the guy that will get the number a week early and have the best number available for football.
Holy
he'll he's looking already a week ahead and taking whatever and then by the time the game kicks off, you're getting +3, he has +6 or something.
Speaking of gambling, guys, Aldo, what is Mike North saying about Caleb?
But Anthony is very talented too, man. Anthony's baseball is killing.
All 3 of you guys are good. Mike North and I have not talked about Caleb Williams other than before the Bears acquired Caleb Williams. Mike wanted to keep Justin Fields. He said, why start all over? Give the kid another chance. I have not been a Justin Fields fan, but why are you going to start now with another kid and basically hit the reset button? You want to win now, your chances are better to win with Justin than they are with Caleb. So that's the last he shared with me.
Okay.
Sean Higgs is a big Rex Grossman fan. Him and
I liked Rex, and I loved Cutler, so
he's down in Houston. Is that game in Chicago, the Texans? It's down in Houston.
It's in Houston.
Yeah, so Sean might be at that game.
Oh, Sean, give us a good preview of what your bet is, since Tooch says you work on things days in advance. Give us a preview of what you're going to suggest on Friday as a betting tip. I might get back into the gambling game because I need to buy some new shoes.
He says he's got the Texans -3 versus the Bears already.
Yeah, she can't do that, Sean. What if Tank Dell goes down like he's likely to do?
He's like Dan Wiederer.
That's right.
He's trolling.
Yeah, Sean, give me something for Saturday's game.
Sorry. I had it too.
Give me something for Saturday's game, Sean. I'm going to be there, so I'd like to place a bet or make it more interesting. My wife will actually take interest in the game because she likes to gamble.
He's got the Patriots tomorrow night, he says, +2.5.
Oh, but I'm saying not tomorrow as in tomorrow, but tomorrow as in Saturday.
What is
when
it?
the Bears play the Bengals.
Bears and Bengals Saturday. I mean, that's going to be a tough game for the Bears, man. I mean,
yeah, we don't know who's starting. How the fuck do you
Yeah.
gamble on something like that?
yeah. Usually, we went over this on the shows. Like, you look at the who you think has the best backup quarterbacks. So we were like looking at was the Texans' backup quarterbacks at Davis Mills and Case Keenum that look really good. The Bears backup quarterbacks outpaid them.
Yeah.
Brett Rippon and Tyson Bagent outplayed them, and then Austin
point.
Reed got rained out. So, but
I think Sean's onto something here about taking the under in the Bears Cincy game. The field could be very wet because of rains on Friday. Nikki and Dan, you want to put the mortgage on that? Taking the under in the Bears Cincy?
Absolutely not. I don't play the fucking fantasy shit, and I don't gamble.
I think Sean would tell you if you bet the under in every preseason game, you probably come out ahead. Most of these games tend to go under. Preseason games tend to go under.
So you basically have to bet like 20 games in order to come out ahead by, who knows, depending on how much you bet, right?
Yeah, if you bet, $100 on every game, you probably come out 1,000 up.
Yeah,
500 to 1,000 up.
I wonder, sometimes I wonder all the amount that I gave strippers over my lifetime. If I would have invested that in gambling, would I be a rich man or would I be a dead man?
Oh, you'd be a fucking billionaire.
You'd
be driving a Maserati right now.
Maserati Aldo. I like that. All right, guys, we usually devote the last 20, 30 minutes of the show to what we have partaken in pop culture. So I'll start with Nikki and Dan because I don't know if they've had a chance to watch anything because they've been busy getting married and doing all the things newlyweds do.
Yeah, I've been busy riding his face. So,
That's a good title. Busy riding his face.
That's gonna be the name of our wedding album.
I love it.
So her daughter's not paying attention to anything she's saying right now.
Did you get a chance while you were writing his face? Did you have the TV on?
No.
I watched something, and I was forced to watch it at work last night.
What is that?
Robin had this. It felt like 100 parts. It was 6 parts, and it felt like. It was like watching Godfather 2 back to back, just like 7 hours. It was like I don't even know what she was on. I think it was Peacock, but it was like, that case, Gypsy somebody.
Yes.
I didn't know who she was. Everyone was talking.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Everyone was talking about Gypsy Rose. Like, I don't know who this Gypsy Rose is, and I don't care. And after watching it last night, Robin had it on work, and it just took forever. But God, I don't like this girl.
The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Yeah,
she's a fucking player, man. Like, she motivates this cat to kill her mother. And this guy thinks he's in love with her and kills her mom for her, confesses, I did it for her. She gets out in like 8 years. This dude is in jail. If he dies and somehow comes back, he goes back to prison. It's like they won't allow him to leave for the rest of his life. There's no chance of parole. She talks him into it. She's fucking out. Aldo's not listening, but
I'm listening.
Okay, so at the end of her prison tenure, after forcing this other man to kill her mom, she forces this poor bastard from Louisiana to marry her. And, he's a cuck, everything about, you just know the poor guy's in love with her. Of course, as soon as she gets out, she leaves the bastard and gets back with an ex and is impregnated now, allegedly by the first guy. And it's just like, this woman manipulates men constantly. And I just felt so bad for the fucking guys. And I never say that because men typically, abuse, women and touch children, do awful things. But man, we have to say women there's some women that just manipulate men no matter they can find somebody to kill their mom or to get married and then just take their money. And that's who this gypsy was. And she's fucking terrible. Just terrible. I mean, how she got out of prison so quickly, and this fucking guy is in there for the rest of his life and is still in love with her too. It's sad.
But it sounds to me like the documentary is interesting. You just didn't like the content of, the character.
I did at first because it just sets you. I didn't know the story. I didn't know who she was. She had one of those mothers that make you think you're sick.
Munchausen's by proxy.
Yeah. So that was like, they set it up the first 2 or 3 parts. So I'm like, okay, who did she kill? I didn't know. So I felt bad for her. Mom made her shave her head, made her think she needed to be in a wheelchair and all this. But it was her plan to kill the mom. It was her plan. She completely drafted the plan. Got the guy who thought he was in love with her. Was like, all right, I'll do it for you, baby. And he's in prison forever. And she's fucking out. And again, already played this poor bastard who was lonely, married him, took his fucking money, and is already with another guy.
Yeah.
God, man, she is a fucking player.
I am familiar with the story because my wife watched it on both 2020 and Dateline. She loves those murder mystery shows. She was the subject, this Gypsy Rose lady was the subject of a couple of documentaries already. But I'm interested in watching this Peacock one because it sounds like there's a slightly different bent to it. Tooch, what have you seen that you like?
Sounds interesting. I was wondering, what was the show that Cole Komet and Austin Reed were talking about?
No clue.
On the show. Does anybody know?
Love Island.
Love Island. Okay, I don't watch.
Do you watch it? Do you watch it?
Sounds like they really like it though. Those two.
No, I'm aware. I don't watch that shit. It's insipid. I don't even know.
I saw a season, because I think the U.S. version has had like 7 seasons already. It's really fucking addictive, and they have new episodes like every day because the cameras are on 24/7, and they're watching these couples try to hook up. Young guys and young women try to hook up, and after a while, it's like you realize, what the fuck am I doing? I got to do something with my life.
I've watched a couple things. Haven't had a lot of time. My wife never saw Blood Simple. It's like the first Coen Brothers movie.
Nice.
And that was really good, man. It's just like, it kind of holds up well. It's a little, it was 1984, I think, or 82.
82 sounds right.
Somewhere around there. Like Emmett Walsh was fucking fantastic. And you got Dan Hedaya, and then the whole thing with I forget the boyfriend of Frances McDormand. He thinks she shot her husband. He's cleaning it up, trying to get rid of the body. It's great.
It is so good. It is the Coen Brothers tribute to film noir.
Yeah.
So it has all those qualities: the dark shadows, long shadows, the femme fatale, the murder mystery and stuff. It's really a fun. And I remember watching it in the theater and hearing about these brothers that made this film, and they were the talk of the Cannes Film Festival or something like that. So I went to see it in the theater. I think it was at the Biograph Theater on Lincoln Avenue in Chicago, and it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, and then I know you probably guys won't like this, but I love The Chosen. It's I'm at season 4. I'm almost done with it, but it's Jesus and the Apostles, story. It's
my wife would love that. My wife would.
So good, man.
She's read all those books.
Actors are fucking kick-ass in it. I mean, the dude who plays Jesus is killer. It's funny as hell too, man. They're all have a sense of humor, But season 4, I'm on the last episode, but I highly recommend it if you want to watch it.
The Chosen on what channel? What
on Amazon Prime, I think all the seasons.
Okay. Dan, are you going to watch that?
He went to go jerk off again. So
okay. I'm surprised you're still on the microphone. Nikki, would you watch The Chosen?
Yeah, I would watch it. I mean, even though I'm not a religious person, I know in college, and even now, I'm very interested in anthropology. So religious origins and ancient religions are really, really fascinate me. So I would totally watch that.
So well done. It was It's like the most successful crowd-funded movie. You know, there was almost entirely funded by individual donations.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it's so well done, man. The acting, the camera work, all of it.
It
Story,
seems
the
like
plotting, really good.
it's to me, if Dan were here and I would ask him about that, I think his reply would be something like this.
If there is a God, why did he make me an atheist?
Well, you know, I'm the same way. I'm an atheist.
So, if there's God, why did he make you an atheist? If you thought of it,
Yeah, I'm an atheist. I just believe the universe is completely random. But it's just, you know, it fascinates me, the evolution of religions. You know, I was telling Danny the other day about, where Yahweh comes from. Yahweh was the Sumerian creator god. That just a faction of Sumerians who began to call themselves Hebrews, decided like, you know what, we don't want to worship all these other gods. We just want to worship Yahweh. So, that's that kind of stuff really interests me.
Absolutely. It is fascinating. I do have a question for Sean Higgs. What is the over under on whether there is a God or not?
I vote no.
Gotta be even odds, man.
I think so. That's true. All right. I want to share with you that I saw a movie called The Beekeeper. I don't know. Are you familiar with
Jason Statham? Really good movie. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you saw it too. Maybe you recommended it.
Scammers that scam that old lady. Those fuckers.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
God damn it.
So the plot is that how do you pronounce his last name? Jason
Statham.
Statham. Yeah, he
Is that
plays
the guy from the Demolition or
Dan hates him.
Yeah, well, I don't like him either.
I don't like that dude. That's the guy with Stallone, right?
Like Snatcher.
Yeah, he was in The Mechanic.
Yeah, I think he's a terrible actor. But go ahead, Aldo.
See, he's an action movie star, but when I first saw him in Snatch, he was far from an action movie star. He played a dumb criminal. And
that was the Guy Ritchie movie, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
I hated it. I saw it at the theater.
I loved it.
Great, man. It's classic, all time.
You gotta have.
It's too British.
You need to have some closed captions on though for that one.
I saw it in the theater without closed captioning.
Yeah, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I couldn't understand, couldn't follow it. I had no idea what the fuck they were doing. It was horrible.
So the plot is that his character was befriended by Felicia Rashad, Bill Cosby's wife in the old show. She's obviously older, but she's been caring for him. He needed some meals and stuff, and she took care of him and stuff. And he was very grateful. And while she ends up being scammed by a one of these internet companies where all of a sudden your screen says, "Warning, call this number to unlock your computer," and she calls very naively, and she loses all of her savings, including money that she was handling for a charity service, $2 million. So when he learns of it, we then learn that he is a beekeeper, not in the literal sense, although he is in the literal sense a beekeeper, but also figuratively a secret government agency that when nobody else can take care of this problem, you send in a beekeeper. So an implausible action star. But I got to tell you, the first...
It sounded like the A-Team there for a minute.
Yeah, it did. That's like an A-Team promo.
There's nothing at all new about this movie. Nothing.
No.
But I got to tell you, the first half hour...
But it's good.
I've never really seen any of this guy's action movies, but the first half hour, I was like into it. I was, man, I wish I could fucking fight like that and beat that. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm totally into it. But then as the movie is going on, he continues to implausibly beat up, government officials, all with AK-47s, coming in up the stairs, and he's beating them all up. And the next guy is like waiting for his partner to get beat up so he can go there and get beat up. I'm like, okay, enough of this shit. Please hurry on with the plot. But there's so very little plot. So I'll give it 2 stars. If you really love action movies and you are a straight hand, whatever his fucking name is, fan, then check it out. You'll probably love it. But I sort of just...
Did you all watch Pete Rose yet?
No, damn it, I have not.
I had a lot going on this past weekend, but
tell me about it.
You have to watch his movie Wrath of Man. I think even Dan would like that one because that's also Guy Ritchie, and it's a heist movie. The armored car heist. it's got a great cast, man. Too.
I think I've only seen one Guy Ritchie movie that I liked. The Gentleman, I thought was incredible.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, and Hugh Grant and
I haven't seen that.
Colin Farrell. Oh, it was
Also
great.
good. It's in that Snatch world, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. But Wrath of Man is killer, man. If you like those crime capers, it's told like in out of order pieces, kind of like Pulp Fiction. But it's got a great, fantastic cast and a lot of good gunfights, and yeah, you'll like that one. It's Guy Ritchie. It's different from his other stuff. It's not kind of over the top. Funny, kind of like Snatch was. Snatch was kind of had a comedic, comedic violence and stuff. But Wrath of Man's more serious, revenge flick, a heist movie. It's really good, man.
Cliff is asking, why would a beekeeper be a beekeeper? I don't know why. That's never really explained, but I got a feeling that he kind of picked up the hobby after he retired from the government beekeeper organization. That's the thrust that I got.
Yeah, she let him have some property on her land where he could tend the bees. And he had the barn. He had a barn where he got the honey and stuff out. And he'd fix stuff around there, tractors and whatnot and stuff.
Cool.
Is Felicia Rashad, is she still married to Ahmad Rashad?
Yes, I think so.
I remember he proposed to her on air.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Great wide receiver, man. It's always open.
Yeah, what was his name before he became Muslim?
Oh, that's a good question. It was something really, really common, like Billy Martin. It wasn't Billy Martin, it's the Yankees manager. But
Bobby Moore.
I knew he had a basic name, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that was the hot couple, and I guess they have not divorced. I think they're still together, so that's great to see.
It's ironic that Ahmad, like you said, was a member of the Super Bowl 11 Minnesota Vikings team, but was so good covering the NBA. Yeah, he was a football player, but was great doing NBA inside stuff. And
he loved basketball and became great friends with Michael Jordan, so they gave him a lot of access, and NBC loved that.
I haven't seen Frozen Ground, but I love this gift.
Is that where that's from? Is that where it's from?
Okay. From Face Off.
That's from Face Off.
Oh, okay.
I think Ahmad's best men or groomsmen were OJ and Cosby, wasn't that it?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh.
Michael Jackson may have been involved too.
Oh shit, what an after party that is.
Jesus.
Hey, the wedding's over. Let's go over to my house and drug women.
And children.
Hey.
I'll just go beat up my wife. No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that.
Norm Macdonald was always like, yeah, it's really funny, except for all the rape. Heard Norm Macdonald talk about Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
The problem was all the rape.
My favorite, Norm started Weekend Update the week after OJ got acquitted. He said, "This just in, murder is now legal in the state of California."
That was great.
Norm was so good, man. It's so killer.
You know, I gotta tell you.
One more Norm. I'm sorry.
Please.
He's talking about Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley's daughter about to break up. He goes, "The word is there's trouble in paradise." He's like, they say Lisa Marie's sort of a stay-at-home kind of gal, and they said Michael's more of a homosexual pedophile.
I gotta tell you that Norm Macdonald, I always thought he was just okay, but it seems like since he's passed,
it's one of the funniest.
I've really learned to appreciate a lot of the stuff. I spent, I don't know, I stumbled onto something in YouTube about Norm Macdonald, and then the algorithm just started spitting out more and more stuff, and I was like cracking up. That motherfucker was hilarious.
I recorded every episode he did Weekend Update because I loved Dennis Miller before him, but I love Norm. I made a set of like 4 or 5 DVDs of like every Weekend Update he ever did. I go back and watch those like every couple of years.
Have you guys seen Dana Carvey and David Spade's podcast?
Yes. Fly on the Wall.
I heard it's hilarious.
So fun. They both do impressions, man. It's so funny.
But if you were a fan of SNL, it sets up stories and behind the scene things that you didn't know. It's really good in that aspect.
Yep. lot of talk and stuff. They talk about other comedians, their time on Saturday Night Live, current events. Really funny, man.
Well, guys, I got to go. I'm sorry. I got to get to work. I apologize. I talked too much here at the end of this last segment. And I want to thank Aldo again for coming out to the wedding and the
yes, thank you so much.
The presents and the dinner and everything, man. It was all great.
My pleasure. Kisses and hugs. And, if you guys do decide to have a child.
She can't. She's had a hysterectomy.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Never mind then.
You were gonna give us $1 million?
I was gonna give you $1 million. All of my savings.
No, I haven't had a hysterectomy. I'm pregnant right now, actually. Pregnant right now.
Well, if there's a miracle baby involved, please consider the name Aldo. Somebody else has to carry on this fucked up name.
Aldo Gandia Aguire.
Yes, I love it. I love it. That sounds great.
All right, love you guys.
Are we on next Wednesday too?
Congrats.
Yes. Oh, by the way, real quickly, I've asked Buffon 55 if they want to make a permanent switch. If we can. And so if you and Tooch can continue to do Wednesday nights, then we continue that for the 2024 season. So think about that.
Yep.
You don't have to answer now.
Yeah, that is so good because after high school football ends and I have to produce the basketball games, they're often on Tuesday. So Wednesday would be so much better. I think, knock on wood, I think it'd be better for me.
All right, let's double check before we finalize that. But
have you seen Buffon's new car?
No.
Holy shit! It's like orange, I think. Maybe it's red, but it's fucking incredible. You have to see Buffon's new car.
This fucker was. I hope the car was. He told me he was in a car crash a week ago. He suffered like a concussion, a lot of scratches and shit. That guy is so fucking unlucky. He gets hurt like once a year. He gets a serious injury. He fell off he was hunting for bears and he had a tree house. So he fell off of that, almost broke his back. Anyway, get out of here, Nikki and Dan.
All right. See you all later.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, he's like John Buffon's like me with E. coli.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've had some run of bad luck too, man.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
2 years, yeah.
This time though, man, that Kiefer just killed it. It's like, yeah,
Kiefer's excellent.
I sent in the fucking army.
Mm-hmm.
All the probiotics. Get in there, fellas.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Brandon Lawson, Aldo, Dan, Nikki, and Tooch, you guys and gals are the best. Congrats again.
Oh, wow,
Dan and Nikki gonna watch tomorrow and have a good night. Brandon is a guy that we're gonna have on as a guest in the near future. He's got an excellent story to share about his personal life, and I'd love for all of us to listen to it. And plus, he knows a hell of a lot about Chicago Bears football, so we'll get his opinions on what's going on in the world of Chicago Bears.
I gotta hear Sean's stories of Vegas, man. Actually, you know what? Let me send you this picture he sent me at this party he was at.
Yeah,
I forgot. It'll take me a little bit, but keep talking. Because he recently was in Vegas and he sent Anthony and I this picture of a party he was at, man.
Ooh, it had to be hot.
Shit.
Sean says that his invitation to the wedding must have got lost in the mail. It was a very, very small wedding party. It was me and 2 others, and they wanted to keep it small. They actually got married in Cincinnati because that's where Marilyn Manson was performing, and both of them are huge Manson fans. If I was like 10 years younger, I probably would have gone to the concert too. Yeah. Not to be a third wheel, but I like some of Marilyn Manson's stuff. Now, he has been involved in some legal problems, so that makes me feel a little uncomfortable. There's been allegations by women that, he's tied them up and forced them to do things against their will. But nothing's been proven in the court of law. So, you can't. I wouldn't boycott something.
This is the party Sean was at in Vegas. I'm like, dude, I got to come to. He asked, "Well, me and Anthony want to meet up in Vegas?" I'm like, I don't know, man. Then he sends me this picture of some party he was at.
Holy!
I wouldn't have mind going to that party, Aldo.
All right, so number 1, number 2, and number 3 from left to right. Which one do you got there?
Let me zoom in a little bit on that.
If you pick the one that I want, I'll kick your ass. I'll fight you for her.
I think I like the one on the right with the sunglasses.
That's the one I want.
Oh, we both like that one. That's a good one, though.
Look at
I
that.
mean, really, I'm
stomach.
happy with all of them, though.
D. Starren wants number
One on the
2.
left has got some thighs, man.
Yeah, she sure does.
I might get injured there.
Yeah. I don't know. There might be something funky going on there, so I'm going to stay away from them.
Yeah, that was the party, he was.
Listen, and at this point in my life, I'm just talking about getting together for coffee.
Says number 2.
Yeah, he liked number 2.
Number 2 was cute.
All 3 of them were great. Sean, which one? I want to know from Sean which one he liked.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'll have to ask him on the show. I'm waiting for Friday's show, but I got weekend sports betting tips on Friday. Then next Tuesday is the Fantasy Football Goon preview show. Yeah. Yep. So return to Fantasy Football Goon with Adam Schaum and my radio son, Joe Mandel. I think Steven Zimmerman is joining us this year.
That's right.
Quite the show. It'll be fun. All 3 of those guys have good tips.
Yeah,
for fantasy football.
They do their homework. Yeah.
And got the Bears Barroom Fantasy Football Draft Show coming up. That's always fun, man. That's really fun.
Always a lot of laughs. I like
always fun. Yep.
Pick on people's picks, even if it's a good pick. I'll come up with something to fuck with them.
Yeah.
By the way, a week from Tuesday is the debut. After the week after your Tuesday show, Fantasy Football Preview.
Yeah.
The following Tuesday will be the debut of Buffon 55 as he joins us now for his 7th season.
Man,
so looking forward to that.
55 and 55. I love that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
55 seconds. He's awesome with that 55.
He really is, man. He nails it. Right at 55, he's done.
Yep.
And then Alyssa Barberi and Danny Shimon are going to be co-hosts on that show, and I'll do a little video for each.
I don't think Jordan Silvera watches anymore, but I don't want him to think I was taking a shot at him. I was just it was just a joke,
Yeah, what happened with Jordan? So he's not back on Barfly Tailgate Show, I understand.
No, because he kind of switched over to the Vikings, which is fine.
And then JJ McCarthy.
Because of JJ McCarthy, now he gets injured. So Bears State of Affairs was kind of like, there's still room on the Caleb Williams bandwagon, Jordan.
I love it.
So, yeah, I'm a big Jordan fan. I like Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan knows his shit, and even when I disagree with him, he presents his thoughts in an intelligent, rational way.
Him and Baralissimo, man, they break down shit really good.
They break it down very good. Baralissimo's last tape that I saw was on
Pryor,
the offensive lineman. Excellent work.
Yep.
Excellent work.
Yeah.
All right, Tooch, I will say goodbye to you. I am headed to downtown Chicago tomorrow. Going to watch the Chicago Sky with my wife tomorrow night.
Right.
Tickets, really great tickets.
Angel Reese and company.
Yes, and then Friday night we're going to check out some jazz and blues.
She's an amazing player too. Let's just.
Oh my gosh!
I know her and Caitlin Clark had their rivalry and stuff. I think if they were on the same team, they'd be best friends.
Yep. I mean, I think in the first half, yes, I totally agree with that.
Yep.
I think in the first half of the season, Caitlin has edged her out a little for Rookie of the Year, but I think Angel can come back if she starts another great streak of double-doubles. And if Caitlin lays off those triple doubles that she was the first WNBA rookie with a triple double. I think the Rookie of the Year voting is going to be very interesting. So, and then
2-0 tonight on my picks.
I love it. Look at you.
Yep.
San Diego
Padres money line and over 9 in the Colorado Diamondbacks. All right,
well done.
Rockies Diamondbacks tonight. My baseball season has been really good, man. Past couple days have been I've been 1-1, 0-2, and then before that I was like 16-4. But I was like riding Anthony's picks because he was red hot. He was like 10 bombs in a row, 11 in a row, man. Just
he does the work, man.
Yeah, I was withdrawing from DraftKings, so it wasn't. I gave my wife $500, from
nice
stuff. Go have some fun, pay some bills, whatever.
Nice. I like that.
Yep.
I like that. So Friday, the wife and I are going to do some blues and jazz, and then on Saturday afternoon we'll watch the Bengals and Bears at Soulz.
Home of the Blues, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
That was a
exactly.
nice. I wonder who that guitar player was. The fat guy, man. He was awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to look for the name in the credits, and
Yeah.
it passed me by. So I'll probably find
The
it. and
drummer
post it
was
up.
great too in that.
Oh my
segment,
gosh,
too.
they were
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good segment. And overall, I was pleased with this week's episode of.
Yeah, you haven't seen Wrath of Man, right?
No, I have not.
Oh, you got to see that one. Even Donna would like that one too. That's a
Donna-
great story too. It's got the, you love those heist movies. What was that racetrack one with Logan Lucky? Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah.
Racetrack heist.
Yeah.
What was the other one? That was the.
Did you ever see the one done by Stanley Kubrick?
That's what I was gonna say. The what is that called? That's what I'm trying to think of.
The Killing.
The Killing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great racetrack heist too.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! Sterling Hayden comes up with a plan to shoot a very popular horse at a big horse race that will create the diversion for them to go break in and steal all the money at this racetrack.
The gambling, the race bets.
Great fucking
Yep.
movie.
That's like
Great
Logan Lucky's probably they ripped off a lot of that.
Yeah, I bet.
Wrath of Man is the armored car
Uh-huh.
rip off. The armored car heist. Yeah, you'd like it.
Okay, I'll check it out. Wrath of Man.
Yep, it's Guy Ritchie and Jason.
Yeah, I
Statham.
love Guy Ritchie. I really do. I'm disappointed.
One of the better directors out there.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'm disappointed that I haven't seen more Guy Ritchie movies because he's the kind of filmmaker that I would religiously want to watch his movies, but because my schedule's all fucked up, so we'll definitely put that one on the list.
Yep. All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Those of you in the chat room who have stuck with us for the entire show or a good portion of the show, really appreciate it. Please let others know what we're doing. We'd love more participation. Make sure you check out Johnny Santucci on Weekend Sports Betting Tips this Friday. And tomorrow, I don't know if there's anything. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything going on in the bar room tomorrow. We might have a dark day. So
We got Willis Towers Friday too.
Willis Towers may not be on Friday unless they can find somebody to produce their show because I'm not available. So if you want to volunteer, please do.
Oh God, my wife's already on me for all the podcasts.
I bet.
Got my mom in the hospital. It's like, whew.
Yep, and I don't want to ask Joe for the same reason. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So anyway, thank you, Tooch. Thank you, Dan Aguire. Thank you, and Nikki Aguire. A great show, I think. And so we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Oh, shit. I didn't have my video queued up, and I'm saying goodbye and all this shit. That's fucked up. There it is.